Almost ready to go. I have 40 seconds on the countdown. Curtis, I see you. Louis, I see you. Was good. So a couple more seconds. Salute YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Mixcloud, Twitter, everywhere. Wow, that chair makes a lot of noise. Okay, let's go. Yes, yes, yes. That looks okay. 1 second before we begin. I do want to turn this all the way down. All right. We should be good just in case for the people tuned in already. Video good, audio good, please let me know in the chat. Are you receiving me loud and clear? How's the volume? Before we get into the introduction and all of that goodness. In the meantime, I'll do one check. Okay, that works. Ah, look, I see a new logo there. Oh no, that's the same one. Okay, my bad. So I see Yo TLM. I can't give you a shout out though because I cannot read that name. Okay. Seems like we're good to go. Let's make it happen. Let me put this out of the way. It's already a little bit too cluttered over here. You need more brightness? For real? Let's make that happen. Now, just for the audio, I turned all the fans off, even though it's crazy hot here. So I'm going to be sweating just for you. There we go, nice and bright. So let's get started. First off, welcome to the Share the Knowledge live stream, Share the Knowledge Live, my weekly live stream, my DJ Q&A. We talk about everything DJ related, and you can ask me anything DJ related. I want to welcome in everyone from YouTube, DJ TLM TV, Facebook, Twitter, Mixcloud, Twitch, and LinkedIn. I will be checking my phone for Twitter, LinkedIn, and Mixcloud because unfortunately your chat messages won't be received in my Restream chat app. I'm using Restream to stream to all platforms, and I can see Twitch, Mixcloud, and Facebook within that one app, which is very convenient, but it would be more convenient if I could see everything there. That's why I'm not even adding IG Live because that will be in a whole other world. So before we get into it, like I said, Louis Aranda, I see you. Curtis, what's going on? Nighthawk is in the building. I see a name. I think it's Arabic, but it's written that way, so I cannot pronounce it because I can't read it. So salute to you if you know who you are. You said Yo TLM, and yes, 100%. We got Mike Shaw. Rodney is in the building from LinkedIn. Oh, LinkedIn does show up in the Restream chat app. That is amazing. That is perfect. So Rodney on LinkedIn, I see you. That is great to know. That means I don't have to look for LinkedIn messages on my phone. Joachim, I see you. And let's see. DJ Costa Rica is here. Then we have Taja Toy is here. Wilson, DJ Kylo is here. Salute to you. And Chris on the mix is here. Unstoppable DJ Homeboy is here from Facebook as well. So I'll just do a quick check to see what's going on Mixcloud. I can get LinkedIn out of there right now. That's good. Twitter, I don't even know if Twitter will show messages. So let's take a look at Mixcloud. but I'll mostly focus on what I can see in front of me right here. We got DJ Easy All Day on Mixcloud tuning in as usual, so welcome to you as well. So I already see a couple of questions. For the people who are new here, this will happen every single week. I go through every single question I see, but once I see a question, I start answering the question. Most of the times, a lot of new questions will come in, and that means that you'll probably have to wait a while for me to get to your question. Now, if it takes me over 20 minutes to get there, maybe I miss your question. In that case, you can always just ask it again, but don't repeat the same question every couple of minutes. That's going to be overkill. So I saw the first question by Louis Arana, and the question is, do you ever get frustrated when you have those bad days and your mixes just don't sound right? It sucks. I think we all probably deal with that to a certain degree, the same way some people will talk about writer's block, either they're songwriters or if they write novels, you name it. Sometimes you might just not be in that flow. I think that's what you're basically talking about. So even if the mixes are technically correct, they still just don't have that vibe. They don't have that flavor. If that's what you're talking about, because I've been there, that I'm just doing a bit of mixing, even during a gig. And I'm like, nah, this is not really exciting. It's like, okay, I just mixed 2 tracks, but I'm not really feeling the vibe. Maybe you're just not getting any energy from the crowd. Maybe your head's not in the right space. Now, mostly when I have gigs, it'll take me, if I'm in a bad place or distracted, you name it, within a couple of songs, most likely, normally, I will just get into a groove, get into a flow, and then the music kind of takes over. And that's actually like a cure for me. I will forget about other things that could have been on my mind before. But yeah, I think that's what you're talking about, like just not being in the right frame of mind, and that will translate to your mixes as well. Like if you're feeling great, you probably will radiate that as well. Just not just by being there, but the way you DJ as well. Normally that will pass quickly. Costa Rica says, I'm going to have to explain to the manager about these new hours. Okay. You're not talking about my hours, right? I know I was late today. Let me scroll and see. All right. So Joachim has a question. What light you use in front of you? Nice to control it with the phone. Not possible from the Stream Deck. So the light I'm using right here is actually the newest light that I have here in my studio, and that is the Amaran 100D. That's Aperture. Aperture is a lighting brand, and they recently came out with a new, I would say budget, just because of the price, a budget line called their Amaran line. So this light is not called the Aperture 100D. It's called the Amaran 100D, but it's made by Aperture. It has about the same amount of light as the 120D Mark II by Aperture, but that light costs about $1,000 more. So this is relatively cheap. It's around 300 something. The other one's like 1,300. The build quality is a difference, but that's not relevant for me because that light doesn't leave the studio. It's on a tripod, stationary in one place. I'm not packing it in, moving it around. If I was doing that, I want to make sure I have like a full metal construction, you name it. This is more plastic, but it's still well built. And you control that. You can control that wirelessly with their app. I did just forget the name. What's it called again? The Cytus Link app. And it works well. I've been looking for that. If there's a way to control Cytus Link devices through the Stream Deck, haven't found a way to do it yet. Now, there might be some type of workaround using if this, then that, and other applications. I don't know yet. I just got the light. I just bought it a week or two ago, so I'm still figuring that out. But for now, if I can control it from the phone, I mean, that's very convenient. Otherwise, I would have to get up, manually control it, sit back down, see if it's okay. In this case, I can just sit here, look at my monitor, and control it. The other lights I have in the back, the Elgato key lights, I can't control those from here. That's how I just turned them down from the Stream Deck. So having control like that is very valuable, especially if you're a one-man team like I am. I don't have like a production crew here, so if anything needs to be adjusted, I have to do it. So the more I can do from my position, the easier it makes the workflow. Chris Blackman has a question. I have my first DJ gig I'm doing for free for a friend's son going off to college. The mother wants me to play old school funk. The son wants me to play 6 of his favorite rap artists. How would you DJ this? Wow, okay, so the mother is basically asking you to play a certain style of music, but it's a going away party for the son. Wow. So first off, I'm assuming that the parents or the mother booked you or asked you. And I mean, I don't want to say that she's going to be the boss and you're the client, but you want to try and find some sort of compromise. Or I don't know if that's the fact, but would the mother disagree if you play the rap tracks? If not, you can combine. If you're playing the entire party, you just make a mix. You do a part where you play some funk, you play some old school funk soul, play some old school rap music, play probably some newer rap artist. I'm assuming that's going to be his favorite rap artist. So a combo would be the perfect combination, because for a party like that, most likely you're going to have all sorts of ages there. The family's going to be there, kids his age, but maybe also like old aunties and maybe grandma's going to be there. So yeah, you want to probably make sure everyone is enjoying it. I don't know. Communication is going to be the most important thing here. Don't just think of a plan by yourself. Communicate with them. Because if that mother is like, yo, I want you to come DJ, I don't want any rap, that's what it's going to be. The son can't decide if it's a family party. But communicate. That's what I would do at least. Nighthawk wants to know top 3 favorite hip hop songs of yours. I can't. I'm terrible when it comes to any type of top list. My top list also changes all the time just because I'm influenced by what I've heard last. So I might have some top rap artists and I have a top 10. But if I spend the last 2 days mostly listening to Nas is going to end up higher than maybe if I was listening to Jay a couple of weeks in a row. So, wow. I mean, I have so many rap songs or hip hop songs, rap songs that I really, really like. So I don't even think I could make an actual top 3. Maybe later on I'll just name a couple of songs I really like, but I'm really terrible at the top lists, and I kind of don't even like them. Marino, I appreciate that. And Wilson has a question. Do you still do wedding gigs? So for the record, I've only done 3 wedding gigs in my life. That's it. If so, how's your wedding season looking so far? Do you bring turntables or a controller? So I don't have a wedding season. I never will. I don't do weddings. The only wedding bookings that I've ever done were bookings where the person asking me to play specifically wanted me to play for the way that I play. So it's not like a wedding planner who needs a DJ for a wedding and wants a wedding DJ. That's not me. That's not what I do. That's not what I specialize in, so it wouldn't be in their best interest. But I've had a wedding for a very close friend, and they would love for me to come play there, play my style. So that's exactly what I did. And I've done a booking where the people getting married used to come to a club where I always played, and they wanted to hear that style that they used to hear back then in the club. Those parties are fine. Now, in that case, I've brought turntables for those gigs, and on one occasion, they had all of the equipment there. So I would want to be in my comfort zone. I'm most comfortable using turntables. In that case, it was still just turntables and Serato. I didn't have phase yet. But yeah, I'll make sure to check if they have it. Otherwise, I'll bring it. But I don't. So there's no wedding season for me, and it will never happen. Big V was good. Good to see you as always. And Nighthawk asks the best way to decide on a DJ controller in your opinion. Okay, so when it comes to choosing DJ equipment, in my opinion, there's a couple of things you look at. Now, of course, your budget is going to be important, but you want to make sure that you think of the things you actually really want and need. Now, when it comes to controllers, you have controllers that are specifically for certain DJ software. You have controllers that basically work with all DJ software. So that's also important. For instance, if you're going to use Traktor as your DJ software, you are kind of limited. There's a limited amount of controllers that are made specifically for Traktor. You probably could get some other controllers to work, but in my experience, if you're going to play with Traktor, using Native Instruments gear is the way to go. You're going to get the best performance. Now, if you're going to use something like Serato or Virtual DJ or Rekordbox, you're going to have way more options when it comes to controllers. And there are so many controllers. So do you need 2 channels or 4 channels? I know the answer for me. You need to decide for yourself. If it's 2, then you can eliminate a bunch of the 4-channel controllers. I mean, you don't have to eliminate them, but you could, or you buy something that has 4 channels, but you're only going to use 2. It's one of the things I would look at. The size, how much space do you have? Do you have the space for a full-size controller? Are you a beginner DJ buying your first controller? You're just starting out, or do you have experience and do you want to move on now? If you're just starting out now, don't even look at all the high-tech controllers. Don't even look at mid-level or the top-tier controllers. Just start with an entry-level controller. Play with that for the first 6 months, year, if you're even still doing it. Because a lot of you will get hyped like, hey, DJing, this is something I'd like to do. And after a couple of months, you're like, I haven't even touched it in weeks. Imagine, and I've seen this happen many times, that you go out and you spend $1,500 to buy a DJ set. I used to work in a record store and we used to sell equipment. You would have parents come in with their young son. Son wanted to be a DJ. And they spent like thousands buying a CDJ set with a club mixer. A couple of months later, those parents were trying to sell that secondhand because the son had no more interest in DJing. So if you're just starting out, just spend a couple hundred, get you an entry-level controller. You can do a ton of stuff with that entry-level controller. If you're like, this is something I want to continue to do, then you decide, okay, is this entry-level controller still giving me all that I need, or have you seen a lot of features on other devices that you would like to have as well? That's important because there's a lot of devices out there that have a ton of options. But if none of those options are of use to you, then why would you spend the extra money to buy something like that? There's always new equipment coming out. I get excited, but then again, I have to think like, okay, but do I really need it? In most cases, the answer is no. So I need to look at all of those things. For me, I prefer motorized platters because they feel like turntables. So for me, it's an easy decision. Am I going to go with the motorized platter? Most likely, yes. Then I only have a limited choice of controllers. If not, I want to have jog wheels that are as large as possible because that's a better feel. Then again, you have to go out and test the controllers to see how they feel, because some controllers have large jog wheels, but the feeling is just not there compared to some other controllers that have jog wheels that actually feel pretty good. So for me, feeling is important as well. So what features do you need? What software are you going to use? What's your budget? Size, motorized platter or jog wheels? Do you want to have onboard effects on a device or just on the in the software? Actually, I don't know. Are there controllers with onboard effects? I'm thinking about the mixer right now. But anyway, there's just a lot of things you can write down on a list. Like, what are you looking for? What do you need? What can your budget cover? And again, if you're just starting out, please go for an entry-level controller. I need to give this some more thought because I think we can discuss this a little bit further. But let me move on first. Nishan wants to know, what's the future of DJing? Is scratching still in fashion? Now, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I could care less if it's in fashion. I never scratched because it was in fashion. I scratched because I love scratching. I will always incorporate a bit of turntablism in my mixing because I love doing it. I love doing a quick little backspin. I love doing a transition and then doing a couple of scratches. So I will always continue to do that. What's the future of DJing? I mean, I really can't tell. Like, the DJs are here to stay. That's for sure. Some people were worried like 10 years ago when some software came out with like auto mix features, like, oh, is this the end of DJing? Well, that definitely didn't happen. I don't see anything like that happening anytime soon, that computers will be taking over from us. I see that the streaming aspect has become a bigger part with services like BeatSource and being able to play like music from SoundCloud and Tidal in your DJ software. We might move more towards a future where DJs don't have to bring their music. They can just come into a club. There's a computer there. They log in, and then they have access to their music and play. Some stuff like that. New technological developments might be implemented more in DJing, but I don't know. I don't think that changes DJing that much beyond that. But is scratching still in fashion? I mean, I still see plenty of scratching, but it all depends on where you look. If you look in certain genres and you look at those DJs, you're not going to hear any scratching. If I open up my IG and the DJs I follow, I'll see scratching all day long. So again, I don't care about what's in fashion. I will always add scratches to my mixes. Gusty, or could be Goosty. Salute to you. 1 second. Okay, Mixcloud is still the same. And Twitter is still pretty quiet as well. That's okay, then I can focus on this. Goosty had a question. How important is it to mix hip-hop music in key? I feel like since I heard about this Camelot Wheel, I'm in a key trap and I'm only looking for songs with a matching key. I think that's a great question because I can't speak for all hip-hop DJs, but as far as I know, hip-hop DJs do not pay as much attention to mixing in key compared to other genres. I see that my iPad or Restream chat is trying to connect. Okay, we'll see when we get there. I still have plenty of messages here. So one thing is, when it comes to hip-hop transitions are not that long. A lot of times you'll only have an 8-bar transition or shorter. Now, of course, you don't want the two tracks that you're mixing to clash, but it's also not the most important thing to make sure that they are in key. Now, if they are in the same key, everything does sound better. I mean, I've never focused on mixing in key, but now that I have the information and my DJ software shows me, anytime I load two tracks and then I see that they have the same key, I can notice like, okay, it makes sense because yes, all of the instrumentation from this track is actually corresponding with the instrumentation on the other track because they're playing in the same key. So it's blending very well. If you're playing certain genres, certain house genres, for instance, and you're doing like long transitions, so you're going to play tracks together for 32 bars maybe, sometimes even longer, and you really have time to work that EQ, blend those tracks, really make the blending the art. Mixing in key is going to be more important because you really want all elements to match well. But with us, like if I'm playing prime time, I will mix some of the tracks, but a lot of the tracks will probably be dropped on the one, so they're not even going through a transition. So the key is irrelevant. So I can understand where you're coming from when you say, like, since you heard about the Camelot Wheel. So for those that don't know, the Camelot Wheel is used for mixing in key. You can analyze your songs, and if you analyze and use Camelot, it will give you a number, and check it out online. I can't pull it up now, but same thing with BPM. Once you start to play with software and now you see the BPM, it's real easy to fall into the trap to only focus on BPM. Okay, I'm only looking for songs that have the same BPM. You can do the same thing with key. So yeah, I with hip hop, I want to say it's not that important, but yes, your music your mixes will sound more musical when you mix in key, but it is of less importance compared to certain other genres. I would definitely say that. What is the best way to organize my library and don't depend on search because my spelling is bad? I would say for me, and this is going to be a long journey for me because I have a lot of work to do. I would say make sure you put as much information into your tracks as possible. I'm going to be tagging my tracks a lot more to make sure I have a lot of information. So not just the song, the title, the genre, the BPM, and the key. But besides that, I'm also going to add a lot of extra tags, like are they tracks for warm-up or prime time or somewhere in between, more loungy, you name it. I'm going to give them a rating, higher rating, a type of energy tag, high energy, low energy. If you have a lot of information for your music, it's going to allow you to not use search, but instead you can use something like a smart crate, for instance, in Serato, or an intelligent playlist in Rekordbox, and just give them a couple of rules. I need tracks within this BPM range, from this genre, for this mood, with this type of energy. Go. And then you will find tracks that match what you're looking for. Beyond that, a lot of DJs just organize their music to their own liking. Some will be very extensive and do a lot of different folders with subfolders and subfolders and subfolders. Some will just have a couple of main folders. I don't even have a lot of folders. I have folders, but beyond the folders that I have within the folder, I sort by BPM most of the times, and I keep it very basic. But that's different for every DJ. You got to find which flow works best for you. Joachim, you asked about the lighting because you're building a setup for live streaming. I would say like a light like this, I mean, I'm loving it right now. Also for the live streams because I can finally have the effect that I have now because I bought that light, but I also bought a light dome with one of the honeycombs inside, which gives me very nice soft light distributed well across this area, but no light is leaking outside of it. So that makes the background pretty dark. With the other softbox I have, if I pointed it towards me, it would just light everything. Okay, so I seem to have lost my connection. We'll see how far we can go right now with the questions I have, and then I might have to find some way to refresh, but I'm good for now. But you need to have space for a light like this, and you should probably have like a setup that stays in one place. This is not a light you want to move around all the time. Now, I also did a lot of my live streams using the Elgato key lights there, and then I would have this set pointed towards that, use that as my main light. An old softbox that I have that can't produce this type of light, but it would give me enough light. Use whatever you can. I've worked with like the most basic type of lamps, desk lamps, and I would just grab any light in the house and point it towards me to shoot a video. Same thing if you would do some live streaming. So if you're just starting out, don't try to spend too much on that stuff. But lighting is important. Like when it comes to streaming for DJs, audio is the most important thing. You want to make sure the audio is clear. After that, lighting is important because even if you're using a cheap or an old camera, if you improve your lighting, your image quality will improve. Gusty Gusty says, if you could show us your Serato library organization, that will be cool. Right now, I can't really show you much because right now my Serato is basically, I think it's still basically empty because I've been using BeatSource. So if I open my Serato now, you're going to see a ton of BeatSource playlists. For those that are not familiar, BeatSource is an online music store. And they also offer a service called BeatSource Link, which allows you to stream all of the music from their library, their archive, and they have a lot of music. You can stream all of their music inside of your DJ software. So I go to BeatSource, I log in, I have an account, and I can use curated playlists that are already on the website, curated by DJs, or you can just go through all of their songs and make your own playlists. Then when I open Serato, I see all of those playlists in my Serato. That's what I've been using for the live streams for the last well, basically most of the last couple of months, except for, of course, my old vinyl editions. And I think I did 1 or 2 where I was using just some folders from the computer. And I did a bunch of live streams on the CDJ 3000s, and then I was using a flash drive. I will do a full video on that once I get my library organization back on point. Nighthawk, you would have to elaborate on that one, how much I would charge for a summer camp. So what are we talking about? Like a DJ boot camp? Lionel on YouTube. Oh, I just scrolled and then it disappeared. Okay, so now my internet, my Wi-Fi is killing me for a second. Now, luckily I have a solution for that. Give me 1 second. Now, hopefully once it refreshes, it will show me all of the comments again. So for the moment, I'm just going to tether my phone if that's, it's going to allow me to do that. And otherwise, I'll have to move my TV there in so I can see the comments that are on screen, because I'm missing out right now. That's not cool. So let me see if they're showing up again now. If it refreshes, please don't give me an empty screen. Okay, it's giving me an empty screen. Damn, I hope the old messages show up in a second. Otherwise, I'll have to go to, I'll grab the computer and add Twitch or something so I can just scroll back and forth on that. Or I can open the Restream chat on my computer. Is it a good idea, Coco Music Factory, is it a good idea to store music on an external device as a new DJ, since my computer does not have a lot of storage space? If you don't have another option, yeah, sure. I just know that DJing, if you're DJing with your DJ software and you're coming from an external device, it works. I just noticed sometimes there can be a little delay in loading. Beyond that, I don't think there's much issues there. So if that's the way you have to do it now, yeah. I mean, for instance, on the studio computer, I don't have music on the studio computer, but I have an external drive attached that has all my music. So anytime I want to DJ using Serato and I want to use my own music, it's coming off an external drive as well. Okay, so that's the problem. The Restream chat is now opened again, but that's the only message I can see there. I'm going to grab the other one. Jamal on Facebook has a question. What's the best program to make remixes? I don't think there is such a thing as best. That's my answer with a lot of stuff, by the way. Best is really subjective because it really depends on the person using it. Now, if you're saying to make remixes, like normally making remixes would mean that you're using some production software to make music, to make new music for a song. That's what I think you were talking about here. And in that case, you have so many ways to go. You have people that prefer Cubase, and you have people that say Logic is the way to go. Reason is the way to go. FL Studio is the way to go. Ableton is the way to go. Studio One is the way to go. Machine is the way to go. There's so many options out there. So I can talk to 100 DJs and they're all going to give me their answer, what they prefer to use. So over here we have Sergeant Grease, and he uses Reaper. I use Machine. Now I use Machine in combination with Studio One. I know a lot of people that use Ableton. It all works. So I suggest you try a couple out. JS Rock uses Ableton. There we go. Now, a lot of these programs will offer free version. Reaper, by the way, I've never used Reaper, but I do know Reaper is incredibly cheap. If I'm not mistaken, Sergeant, I think the paid version is only like, is it like 60 or something, or 90? I don't know. I think they also have a free version. I think Ableton has Ableton Lite, which is free. You can also even try something like Serato Studio. There are so many things you can use to make music. So yeah, that's my answer. Yeah, $60. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like that's incredibly cheap for a DAW that can do a lot of things. Who's that? X Factor says, my 2 cents. If you do that, use USB-C and the fastest SSD drive you can afford as an external drive. True. But I have to say, like, when I've DJ'd using an external drive, it was just one of the old hard drives, and even that still worked. Now, if you're using a computer always make sure now that your computer has SSDs and not normal hard drives. That will speed up everything. So yeah, I mean, I agree. If it's possible, then yes. But if you're using an old, yes. Let's just say yes. Let's see. Okay, Sergeant Crease used to be Neved. I got you. Okay. And the free trial of Reaper has no limits. It expires, but all that happens is a pop-up when you start it. Okay, there you go. Does BeatSource have instrumentals or intros, outros by chance? JS Rock, yes. I see instrumentals, not for everything. So it's not like every song will have an instrumental. So first off, it depends on if that song was ever released as a single and came with an instrumental. But they have instrumental versions, and they're working on adding edits. And there are already some edits available now. And they're adding more, which is actually pretty major because normally labels do not like that. They have all the licenses with all the labels, and they were able to also allow the labels to let them make DJ edits. So that is being added more and more. Mozali asks, how much does it cost per month to stream via Beatport? So I wasn't talking about Beatport. I was talking about BeatSource, but it's okay because Beatport offers a similar service. So I'm using BeatSource, and BeatSource is aimed at the open format DJ. Beatport is really for house music. But BeatSource has BeatSource Link. Beatport has the same thing. They have Beatport Link. I'm not sure if the prices are the same. There's a couple of different subscriptions. So with BeatSource, they have 3 levels of subscription. You have the lowest tier. I don't suggest taking that. I think that one is $9.99 a month. But then you do get lower quality streams. And the next level up already gives you the 256, which is a lot better. With the second version, you also get to store 50 tracks offline, meaning that if you lose an internet connection, you can always still play those 50 tracks. And with their top tier subscription, which I think is like $29 a month, you get 100 tracks offline. But you'll have to check out probably link.beatport.com. I know for BeatSource, it's link.beatsource.com. So for Beatport, it's most likely going to be link.beatport.com. And I know they offer a 30-day free trial, so you can try it out. And it works with all DJ software. So it works with Serato, Rekordbox. It works, I think it even works with Traktor now. It works with Virtual DJ, if I'm not mistaken. It works with Algorithm DJ. I think it basically works with most DJ software out. So that's pretty cool. Okay, peeps. If you ask a question and I haven't answered, just put it in again because it's not giving me the old questions again. I don't think I can scroll up further. I have a connection, so I'm just going off the questions I see now. So please, if you wouldn't mind, just drop the question again. And we got DJ Rufo on Mixcloud as well. Salute to you. So Shrey18 has a question. Got my very first gig tomorrow. Congratulations, first off. DJing my school leavers event. Intend to play multiple genres, soul, hip-hop, R&B, jazzy, house. Any quick advice would be really helpful. Okay, is there coming more? Is more coming, Shrey? Or is that it? Because to be honest, that's a pretty broad question. Is there anything specific you would like to know about? So what type of advice could you use? Now, the one thing, and if you've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me say this before. What I always tell first timers, if this is your first time, just make sure you're prepared best you can. And I'm not talking about your mix. I'm talking about the rest. So knowing exactly where you're playing, who's attending, what's being expected of you. Now, you know what type of party this is. School leavers, you know what type of people are coming. You already know what you're going to play. Do you know what type of equipment is going to be there, or are you bringing your own equipment? That type of stuff. Knowing that means that you don't have to think/worry about that. That's one thing. Just be very prepared. Know who you need to call if there's anything, you name it. On top of that, for first-timer DJs, and I always say this, you're going to make mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. If you're stressing about doing like a perfect event and making no mistakes, that's going to lead to a lot of stress, because as soon as you make your first little mistake, you're going to be in shock because you didn't want to make mistakes, and now your head's going to be in the wrong place. So just know you're going to make mistakes, but also know that that's perfectly fine. I can tell you from experience, a lot of the audience is not even noticing the mistakes that we already feel are like major mistakes. Even if you make a big mistake, like you try to do a mix and it's a total train wreck, just let it go. Let that new track play. Move on. Forget about it as soon as possible and try to enjoy the moment. They'll hear that mistake for a second, and then they'll get back to the music, get back to socializing. They're having the time of their life. They're leaving school. They're happy. They don't really mind. So just be prepared for that. Mixmaster G is in the building. Goedenavond. And Vinyl Touch. Oh, you're in now due to a meeting. Okay, I see you. Welcome. And JS Rock has a question here. So I've been told that record control is the most important aspect of scratching and not trying to just get fast on the fader. How or what would you recommend that could help improve record control to get your scratches sounding better structured and not just doing stab, release, or relying on releasing the record to let the sound play? Okay, let me just make sure I read it again. Recommend that could help improve the record control to get the scratches to sound better structured. First off, let's start with the beginning. Record control is the most important aspect of scratching and not just to get fast on the fader. Well, yes, I agree that being fast on the fader is not the important part, but keep in mind that the fader adds just as much to scratching as your record control. Scratch experts might not agree, but what I mean is, like, once you get into more techniques, you start to notice that the actual platter movement doesn't change that much, and the type of combinations of opening and closing your fader becomes more important. Record control indeed is very important, because the more control you have over your record, the easier it becomes to do the different scratches and to control your movement, to make sure you're letting it go on time, you name it. But I would say the simplest answer I would have for improving control is still just practice. Just practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes doing. I mean, it becomes second nature. So less of a thought process will go into it. It becomes more of just a natural feeling. So just overall practice. So let me just check. Can you actually hear this? Oh, yeah, that is coming in. That's dope. Last time I had my set here and it wasn't connected. This time I wanted to have the set active just in case something like this would happen. So I was recommended to turn the power off on the turntable and practice scratching that way, so you're not relying on releasing the record. Well, yes, I if I'm not mistaken, in my very first DJ tutorial, a scratch tutorial on YouTube, I think I actually started with just that record player, the turntable off, just like I have it now. It's off. You can practice this all day, and you don't need it to be on. Wait, I actually have an angle for that. We have an angle. I mean, it's not just the way, it's a way. All of the things can help. All of the things can help. But I mean, for certain practices, even with just record control, you do kind of need it to be on because you want to bring it back. You want to have that resistance from the actual movement going on. If you're using a turntable, that is. That doesn't sound the same when you don't have it turned on. All right. Wow. Why did that happen? Restream, I'm not really happy with you today. In the middle of this, my Restream chat app just told me, like, hi, log in, while I was using it. Let me just check what happened here. Okay, it switched back from tethering from the phone to my Wi-Fi connection, but it decided that I need to refresh. Cole Damiani, hi. That's the first thing I see. So yeah, I kind of missed the question before that. But yeah, that's one thing. Practice with you need to do all of them. So practice with just the motor turned off. Working on that. On, where you actually have to control it and bring it back. Fader, add the fader to it. Simple fader movements, more all-out fader movements, you name it. Play Chris Brown. Cole, first off, this is not a mix live stream. This is a Q&A live stream answering questions. And second of all, during my live streams, when I'm mixing, I do not do requests. But in this case, we're not playing music. We were just actually talking about scratch practice, and I just wanted to show that real quick. Shrey, so I may have missed a question before this. I'm sorry. My chat app just refreshed all on its own. Shrey says, feel like the crowd environment will be supportive. Do you think blending soul, disco, hip-hop, and R&B is a good way to go? Or will the crowd prefer playing one genre for a decent amount of time? You can't really tell. It all depends. Like, if you have a crowd there that likes all of those genres, then you can go all over the place with it. If you have sections of the crowd that will be more into soul disco and other sections of the crowd that will be more into hip hop and R&B, you might want to give each of those sections a moment. If I play and I switch genres and it's like really a different type of genre, I will give that genre like 10 minutes, maybe 15 if the crowd is really feeling it, and then move on to something else. But for me, for instance, like hip hop and R&B, to me, there's no real difference. So I can play those all night going back and forth. So you have to feel that. You have to feel it out. See what feels right. And also what works for you, like BPM-wise. If you're in a certain vibe, let's say like newer hip-hop is going to be a totally different type of BPM than like the soul and disco that you're playing. So playing them back-to-back is going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be easier for you to separate that and do it in portions, in sections. Did you see the guy modding the Rain 12 to take a tone arm? No, I saw it with the Rain 1. Yeah, so maybe he also has one for the Rain 12. That could be. But I did see it. I mean, okay, now it's telling me that Restream is trying to connect again. I don't know why. The last couple of days, the Wi-Fi has been really weird. I reset the router a couple of times. It continues to happen. That's why I stream over a cabled connection. So my stream has no worries. I know that is going to be perfectly fine. But now, like the chat, I'm doing it from the Restream app. If this happens again next time, I'll just put up a monitor and I'll do the Restream chat app from the computer as well. But yeah, I did see the mod, and it could have been for the Rain 12 or Rain 1 and Rain 12. I don't know. I saw it on the Rain 1. It looked cool. But yeah, I mean, in that case, like if it's the Rain 1, it could be kind of an addition because that is like an all-in-one device. It's cool to have that. And it's if you have Rain 12s, turntable size, you name it, and you also want to add a tone arm to play vinyl, in that case, I would say just get a turntable and buy a phase. But if you have that all-in-one unit like a Rain 1, it's kind of a cool addition to be able to play vinyl on it as well. But I haven't given it like a lot of thought yet. It looked kind of cool. I have to check the full video to see how much it actually takes to attach it and take it off, and if there's any extra steps you need to take. So it looked kind of fun, but I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a large crowd for that. Most people buying a controller are buying a controller just to control software, and they don't want to have records on it as well. But I like the innovation. I always like to see the innovation. For those wanting to see new scratches, would you recommend the Scratchlopedia Britannica? I don't know. I haven't seen that before. All right, Curtis, just sending it again as the stream dropped out. Well, the stream didn't drop out. Twitch, did the stream drop out? I don't think so. I lost my chat. That's it. But okay, is it important for vinyl DJs to know and feel comfortable with CDJs and controllers, and the other way around? I know it's preference and can't hurt, but I find it an interesting topic. Well, I have to say, for me personally, if you're a vinyl DJ and that's what you want to do that. Just be aware of the fact that you might be limited in certain conditions, because there could be parties where it's just going to be CDJs. They would like to have you there, but they can only do CDJs. If you decide for yourself, I'm not doing it, I'm going to stick to vinyl, kudos to you, but just realize that you can't do certain gigs then. So, and I fully respect that. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't do certain things, and I know because of that, I cannot get as many bookings as other DJs, but I go with my feeling. Now, if you don't mind, then yes, it is a big plus to know how to work different type of equipment. For instance, let's just name a scenario where I'm playing in a club. I'm playing on a turntable set there, and for whatever reason, the equipment breaks. Something happens. I cannot use that set anymore. But they also have a CDJ set. If I also know how to rock on that, I can make the switch and still play. To me, that's great. Just being able to do that would be a great feeling for me, instead of just being there like, okay, now I can't continue and you have to stop. I mean, even though it's not your fault, just being able to play on everything is just dope. But if you learn how to play on controllers or on a CDJ, I don't feel you need to know how to play on turntables. To me, it's a lot of fun playing on a turntable. I know a lot of controller DJs who now want to learn how to play on a turntable because they got a chance to play with it once. It was pretty difficult, but they like the feeling. They're intrigued. Now they want to know how to do that as well. To me, it's all about that fun aspect of it. But of course, if you know how to use more equipment, it's going to be a plus. If you play more genres, it's going to be a plus. But you got to go for your feeling. Go with your feeling. Silent Disciple on Twitch, I appreciate that follow. And Jace Rocks is also not trying to blow up your chat here. Never can. Just shoot. That's what the Q&A is for. I don't care if you have 100 questions. Drop them right here. The last few gigs, I did notice that the younger generation were not wanting to or did not like dancing. I did a high school event, and nobody really wanted to dance. I was playing all the right stuff and even their requests, but nobody wanted to dance. How do you work through that? At that point, I'm playing for myself. So I've had this happen not that many times, but there have been occasions where the crowd was just not showing me a lot of response. I heard after the fact that they had a good time, but they did not show me that. I was not getting the reaction I was used to. I play freestyle, so I depend on what I can read from a crowd. I'm bringing in a track, and I'm watching the reaction, and I'm listening. If they're not giving me a lot, I try different things. If I've tried a couple of things, I went in a couple of different directions, a couple of different eras, and I'm not getting the reaction, at that point, I'm like, okay, it doesn't seem like you're going to go for anything. At that point, I make the switch. I just start to play party style according to the party I was booked for, in this case, like a hip hop and R&B party. I go off, and I just go all out playing, having fun, rocking a hip hop and R&B party without the actual response. And that's it. It's not the most fun, but like I said, like afterwards, I was talking to a bouncer, and he told me like, yeah, they were having a great time. I was like, I had no reaction. They're like, yeah, they're always like that here. I'm like, okay. Now, I would not like to play like that every week. You play for that crowd reaction. That's the dope part. It gives you that extra energy. But if it's not there, hey, like you're playing there and you were playing at that party, you know what type of generation you have there. If you have people coming in with requests and you play those requests, you still get no response, and I guess that's just the vibe that they had there. Like I was playing with a DJ at one of those parties, and this DJ went into panic mode, like really panicking, like, damn, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm like, yo, chill. You try a couple of things. If they're not going, just play what you're supposed to be playing at this party. You know, if you've been booked to play at a specific party and you know what's expected of you, you do that. Simple as that. All right, Mixmaster G has an interesting theory. Odds are that with the lockdown just lifted, the room wants to chat to each other instead of dancing. I'm not sure though, because I've seen like online footage of people who were now able to party again, and they were going off. So, but you never know. Maybe like if it's their first time seeing each other again, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But whatever the case may be, sometimes this might happen indeed. All right, next up, we have Vinyl Touch with a controversial question. What's your view of experiences DJs having negative comments to upcoming newer DJs? I hear terms like wannabe DJ and the like. I wonder, does that continue anywhere? No. Damn. It doesn't continue. Okay. Hey, Invest, I'm not behind though, by the way. And that's not even because of my speed, but my chat app cut out twice. And then when it started again, it just gives me the newer messages. So I'm reading a message from 5 minutes ago. So that's pretty close for me. Okay, so my view on DJs having negative comments about upcoming or newer DJs. Well, I would like to say for the newer DJs, if you hear those comments or if you read those comments, do not give a single F about what people are saying about you. That's what I do. I do not care. I do not care about that. Now, of course, if you're a beginner DJ and there's a DJ who's a vet, an experienced DJ, someone you may look up to, if they would leave a comment like that, I can imagine that most likely that would hurt. But people are like that. I mean, I try to stay away from negativity, and I stay away from stuff like that. And I see certain DJs, I see certain footage online that would make me say like, yeah, okay, I'm not feeling this. There's no reason for me to actually post that. Doesn't help anyone. And I don't need to share every thought I have, especially with younger DJs. So there's one thing I do see. I see you have a bunch of young DJs, especially young girls. Some of them actually have a lot of skill. Like, I love their skill. But I've seen like 3 or 4, maybe 5 different ones of these younger girls, and they do like little sets or routines. The skill aspect is dope, but their parents all train them to show these phony moves while they're playing. So they start a song and all of them do the exact same thing where they're like doing like uncoordinated hand moves, because you can tell someone taught them like, hey, when you bring in a song, you got to do like hand moves. That part is cringy to me because it's not needed. They look cool, they're cute, and when they touch the decks, they're dope. And that whole fake aspect takes away from it for me. I would not post that there as a comment because it's gonna leave negativity that's not needed, because I support those young DJs. And if I was ever in a position to talk to them or them and their parents, that's probably the only advice I'd give them. Like, hey, that part is not really necessary. It doesn't really add to the performance. And I mean, you can teach a young person to interact with a camera, but like all of the like fake type of moves is not necessary. But I'm not going to leave that as a comment. Same thing, DJs on IG. A lot of y'all probably know, if I say Serato, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? If not, Serato for the last couple of months has been using the reels, which is actually a really smart thing because they're not posting it on their main page. If you go to Serato's main page, you see none of this. But in their reels, they keep posting this one guy who's sitting there with, I don't know, with a controller, with an SR or some type of controller. And this is like a collab with that guy and whosampled.com. And every time he's playing like an original track, and like 99% of them are the most obvious like originals where you can clearly just hear the sample, you know straight away which song it is. And then he goes into the song. DJs are losing their mind every time. And a lot of people like, button pusher and going crazy. It's now gotten to a point that the first like 20 or 30 comments are DJs like, all right, I'm grabbing my popcorn and sitting waiting for the comments because they know there's going to be salty DJs coming in to comment. Now, yes, of course, when I see something like that, to me, a lot of the stuff is not, first off, not impressive because a lot of the samples are really the most obvious samples. It's a collab with Who Sampled, so it's not like this person discovered the samples. It's just like a list on a website. And there's like no skill shown in the actual presentation. And a lot of times, even when he goes from the original to the sample, there's like a weird cut in the edit. So you're not even seeing it done live. It's all edited. There's not a single fiber in my body that's even thinking about dropping a negative comment on that. It's not necessary. It's not going to add anything to my life, their life. It's only going to add entertainment to the people with the popcorn sitting there and watching. But if you're like a upcoming DJ, please just don't focus on comments. It's the online world we're living in. Every keyboard warrior has the option to leave whatever they want. You have a lot of negative people online. Let me take this opportunity to salute the entire, first off, DJ TLM TV community on YouTube. I've been making videos there for a long time. I have over 500 videos on the channel now, I think. I think I can count the negative type of instances of like comments on my channel for all my videos probably on two hands. It's like super positive. Same thing with the chat. It's always super positive. I mean, you have those pockets online where you actually do have like a positive vibe, but a lot of the internet is a cesspool, especially on social media, on comments. So you don't want to pay too much attention to that. Yeah. I just went off and probably missed half of the answer, Vinyl Touch. I'm sorry. All right, JS Rock says, I feel that any kind of negativity kind of badly reflects on the individual saying it. Thank you. Yes. I think of the old adage. What? Okay, maybe it's a word I don't know. It's not my native language. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Try to be constructive. Yeah. I mean, the fact is, a lot of times you see people online dropping negativity. Most likely they're dealing with some type of negativity within themselves. A lot of people need to bring other people down to feel better, meaning they're not in the right place. If you need to bring someone down to feel better, it means you're on this low level. You're trying to bring the rest down below you to feel better. Yeah, I just don't go with that. And Mike Shaw says people party different, 100%. So even if you're used to a certain crowd, you might go somewhere else and they're not giving you the same reaction. That's going to be different in different places. JS Rock is responding to Shrey 18. As long as you're having fun, other people are vibing and rocking with you. That's all that matters. Stick to the rules that the school sets in terms of edited music. Have fun. Don't overthink it. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Let's see. I got fired from a Pluckers because they said I wasn't a real DJ because I didn't have turntables, and it upset me. It hurt me, but motivated me to learn turntables and to try harder. Try to flip the negativity into something constructive. Now, I have to say, I mean, I'm glad that worked out for you and it kind of fueled you. But at the end of the day, they were wrong. first off, the statement calling someone not a real DJ because they didn't have turntables is, I mean, I don't even take part in those type of discussions anymore. Like I'm out. I'm out. As soon as something like that comes up, I'm out. But they are wrong for even just saying that. So you shouldn't even have to feel that you have to learn on turntables because someone said something like that. Because just for the record, playing on turntables does not make you a real DJ. We're way beyond that point. But for some, when they hear something like that, like for you, if it fuels you, then the end result is positive. But just never forget that they were totally wrong. Hey, DJ Breeze, what's good? What's good? What's good? Good to see you. People are more interested going live at a party as opposed to actually partying. All right. And JS Rock says, no, Shrey says, I think I'm stressed because I want to make a big impression on my schoolmates. Yeah, even that. Don't even, like I said, like don't, for people, like don't focus on comments. You shouldn't even really be thinking about what they think about your set. You should just be focusing on having fun and playing your set. That's the most important part. As soon as you start to think a lot about making an impression, that's going to lead to more thinking instead of just going with the flow and actually having fun and performing. So constructive criticism is always welcome, but when someone says wannabe DJ, there isn't anything constructive from that. No, 100%. Yeah. Like if someone calls you that, that's not constructive. Like if I see someone who's clearly like doesn't know how to DJ and my comment is wannabe DJ, it's not going to help anyone. The issue I find when transitioning from samples to the songs where they're sampled, they're out of pitch because they didn't tune it properly. True. Well, that's actually one thing that the guy in the Serato videos does. He will loop everything up and then use the key shift to get it to the proper key. People getting off of being negative for no reason at all, just to stir something up. Yeah, and like I said, to make themselves feel better. It really happens. Roger A. Martin, salute to you. Christopher says you're talking about Fortunes. Not sure who's that about. Or is that a show that I've missed? Because I see Coco Music Factory sing and I'm watching them daily. Let's see. Curtis says, do you collect clean edits wherever possible, even though you play the explicit version, just in case it's needed? Sometimes yes. If I'm on the DJ pool, in my case DJ City, and I'm downloading tracks, if there's a clean version, a lot of times I will download that as well, even though I probably will not need it. But then just in case I will have it. So yes, I think it's a great thing. Like for some of you, you are used to playing clean versions because you really have to. Here in the Netherlands, we don't really have to deal with that censorship. But once I got older, once kids came into play and I actually had to play in front of kids sometimes for my son, I didn't feel comfortable playing everything in the original version. For some versions, I would prefer to have like a clean version. So having it is a good thing. That knuckle. I appreciate that follow. Hey, Suey, what up, man? We got DJ Suicide in the building. And then we got a question from that knuckle. And the question is, what's the best way to post mixes or streams without getting hit with copyrights? Mixcloud. Yeah. Like Mixcloud currently doesn't have the community. That being said, DJ Knowledge, salute to you on Mixcloud as well. There isn't a community like there is, for instance, on Twitch. But Mixcloud at the moment is the only one that really truly is the legal way to go. When you post your mixes there, you can even make sure that you have all the credits in there, and then the artist can actually get paid from the mixes as well. And you can stream there, no problem. Once you stream there, the replay will only be audio, not video, but it will stay on. So that's the way to go. Now, currently, if you live stream on Twitch, the live stream itself is no problem, but the replay is going to be an issue. And for most of us, our replays are largely muted when you play there. Facebook, I don't even try no more. My streams always got cut. I stopped doing it. Facebook or YouTube, I don't do it on my main channel. So I wanted to use my old channel for that. And then I got, first off, I only got like a couple of like copyright claims. That wasn't a problem. Then I got hit with like a policy violation, and I couldn't use my channel, not upload for a week, not live stream for a week. If it happens like 1 or 2 more times, they'll delete that channel. I'm not risking that. Some DJs seem to have special powers because they can live stream anywhere, but for most of us, that's not the case. So Mixcloud is the safest. Twitch will definitely work for live, but the replays won't work. Trill Skill on YouTube. If DJs had access to controllers back in the days, I'm sure they would have used them too. Yeah, I know for sure. That's the thing. Like a lot of times, the older generation has a lot of comments when it comes to the new generation and new tech. And just the fact that they forget that the only reason they're playing on turntables is because that was the only option. I 100% know, like, if you would have turntables then and vinyl, but at the same time you would have CDJs where they're like, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to carry these big crates. I can bring like this small folder with CDs and play with that. A lot of people would have done that back then as well. We were using turntables because that was the only option. Now, for me, it's a feeling thing. I prefer the feeling, but I would never say like you have to play on turntables. If you want to become like a pro scratcher, or if you want to become like an advanced scratcher, yes, this is your best tool to learn how to do that. You can scratch on controllers, but when it comes to like the advanced stuff, understanding the feeling better, a turntable is going to do a better job. But I mean, I've had that happen too. Like I posted a clip. Which one was it? I think I posted one of my live stream clips where I was doing, I was playing Mobb Deep, and then I took the part that Pete Rock and I sampled. Ain't no time for faking jacks, because brothers that fake jacks get laid on their back. And I repeated that on a cue point, pitched it down, and then I brought in the I track. Pete Rock saw that, and he reposted it on his IG page. And he has all sorts of followers, but also a part of his followers are like these really old, salty DJs. And they've never seen me before. And then I saw all the comments, and they're like, button pushers, not real DJs. So, I mean, I laugh when I see it. I laugh. But that is how they look at it, because in their minds, like, oh, there goes another one of those guys hitting on one of those things. It's not just normal vinyl and turntables. That's not real. So to me, it's laughable when people are still in that mindset. And I mean, I don't think I really commented on them, or I told one like, hey, bro, any day I got you, and I got no reply. But yeah, Troll Skill, I agree 100%. Like, if they had that equipment back then, people will be using it. All right, let's go. Let's go. Lerny Vanders had the same question, and he already says Mixcloud is the only place. Yes. Suicide is dropping bits in here. I like that. Suicide is one of those DJs on Twitch, really putting in the work. I get a lot of questions from people who want to know, like, yo, how do I get how can I grow my stream, how can I grow my Twitch? You got to put in the work. Like, I've known Suicide for years, and I also follow him on Twitch. If you follow people on Twitch, you know you get that notification in your inbox that someone is going live. I think I get like notifications for Suicide 6 or 7 days a week. Every day I see you, bro. Going live. That's the work you got to put in to get some growth in there. DJ Phenomenal, what's going on? What's up to you? And let me quickly see if I can see some Twitter activity. No, I don't see Twitter activity. How does that work, though? Can I see something extra here? I do see one person left me that little heart. That's the thing. I don't know. We should. I see one viewer on DJ TLM wants you to moderate comments. Tap or swipe left on comments to mute them. I didn't see that the last time. Okay, got you. So for those that don't know, we used to have Periscope. Periscope stopped, I think, in April, and Periscope was connected to Twitter. But Twitter basically does the same thing now. With Twitter, you can go live as well, and it's the same thing as with Periscope. But I just don't think people are watching it. That's also why I can now stream there, and the replays do stay on. But yeah, I don't know what's. Maybe that'll grow. We'll see what happens. I wish I could get it in the chat though, because Periscope comments used to be in the Restream chat. Twitter isn't. DJ Fat was good. Salute to you. And Mozali says, in Rome, I was disappointed seeing all women and men dancing separately on different sides on the dance floor. Might have been a specific party. I don't believe that's going to be like a Rome thing. Then again, I don't know. I haven't been to parties in Rome. DJ Red is in the building as well. Salute to you. And then we have a question. Is there a way that you can unmuddy the water on the DMCA thing on Twitch? Should I have clips or not? Should I allow VODs or no? As far as I know, like I stream there. I do my mixes on Twitch. After I'm done, I can see that most of the mix is muted due to copyrights. But I can also see when I go to my channel, to my channel page, or check my Twitch, it tells me that I don't have any like claims and everything is cool. I would say do not post clips, do not leave clips online. And what I normally do is I'll stream, and after that I'll just delete that stream. To me, the most important thing is that I can stream on Twitch, have that live interaction with the community. And I don't care about the replay. Just give me that live interaction. And as long as I can get that done, I'm perfectly fine. So I stream. After the stream, I delete that stream. So if Twitch checks my channel, they're not finding any clips or replays with music there. Up until now, I've been fine. But I've heard of streamers, mostly like the gamers, who had clips and really got hit hard. But I can't unmuddy it anymore, unfortunately. Shawty wants to know, how many songs do you own or take to a gig on average? Okay, two different questions. The first part, how many songs I own, I have no idea. So first off, I have no idea how much we have here. I haven't counted my vinyl in a long time. And a lot of this, I mean, there's a lot of albums in there. How many songs are there on every album? Not a clue. That's just the vinyl. Digitally, all I can say is I have terabytes of music. Terabytes. So I have no clue at all how much music I have. Now, how much do I take to a gig on average? I try to limit the amount of music I bring to gigs, and that's why I want to make smaller folders and start to work more with like tag music, so I can just make smart playlists that fit what I need at the moment. The more music I have in folders, the more I'm just scrolling, and the harder it becomes to find songs for me. So I want to make it smaller. I used to talk to guys like in the beginning of the digital DJ era that were bringing like their external hard drive with like, yeah, I brought 400 gigs of music. I'm like, why? Why would you ever do that? There's just no need. In my vinyl days, I was already bringing quite a lot of music. So normally when I played, I was bringing at least like 3 crates, sometimes 4. That's a lot of music, and you never get to playing all of that music. But in that case, I knew I had all my hip-hop R&B, and then I had some dancehall. I had my New Jack Swing. I had some soul funk, and even a little bit of like UK garage and some house. So I could go a lot of different directions. 3 or 4 crates of vinyl is a lot of music, but it's like this much compared to what you see here. So you don't need to have a ton of music. But then again, some people feel a lot more comfortable when they know they have everything. just in case. Now, I don't do that anymore because, of course, using streaming services like BeatSource, if I don't have a song, or for instance, I have Tidal as well and SoundCloud Go as well, if I'm playing and I don't have a certain song on my crates, I can go to BeatSource or go to Tidal, hit the search bar, and get that song. So you don't even have to have the mindset anymore of, oh, I didn't bring that song, because most likely you're going to be able to find it online. So yeah, number-wise, I can't give you anything. And then we have DJ Steve Mix. Salute to you. You've been DJing since 1977. There we go. OG status. And one of the best things I've heard as a DJ came from you. Okay. In one of your videos, you gave the number one thing about DJing is have fun. That made me a better DJ. Hey, I appreciate that. It's a fact though. Like, and it's been said in this chat as well, like, don't overthink. It's just so important with a lot of things. Like overthinking is really an issue. Not a direct comparison, but you even see it with like some people in the NBA with basketball, like professional basketball players that can hit like shots from any angle. And some of them only have issues when they're on the free throw line. I think that's a mental thing, because it's not like a physical limitation. Like, from this spot, they can't hit because it's too far. No. Too close. No. It's a mental thing. So they're probably overthinking. And this can happen with a lot of different things when you start to overthink. Now, if you're in your beginning stages, first off, when I was first doing my gigs, I already knew how to DJ. But when you start to do your first gigs, you have certain nerves. All of a sudden, you don't want to mess up a mix, something you haven't thought about at home in a long time. But now you're playing for people. Now you're thinking about that. Oh, they're hearing everything I do, which they don't, but you feel that way. And now I'm thinking too much while I'm playing. All of a sudden, it took me 3 times longer to beat match. And now I'm overthinking volume. And oh, the song is already at the end. Something that would have never happened at home. But I was overthinking. Once you let that go and you start to just enjoy the music you're actually playing, and yeah, here and there you might make a little mistake, but you're playing live. Who cares? The crowd doesn't. It becomes a lot more fun. It just does. Phenomenal says, I've used several DJ pools over the years. BPM Supreme, Heavy Hits, Franchise Record Pool. Why do you feel that DJ City is the best? First off, I can't say DJ City is the best because I haven't tried all of them. I used to use Franchise Record Pool. I took a sneak peek at BPM Supreme years ago, and I used DigiWax, the free one. I used Crate Connect years ago as well. I have a great connection with DJ City. I've worked with and for DJ City for years. I organized their DJ City link-ups here in Amsterdam. I've produced a lot of video content for DJ City, so I have a close connection there. And I like what they have to offer. I have a lot of music, but whenever I need some new music, I like the selection that's being offered to me by DJ City. Is that going to be a perfect offering for everyone? And even for me, I used to use Beat Junkies as well, and they would have like a little bit more of the quote-unquote underground stuff that I couldn't get on DJ City. So it all depends on what you're looking for. So that's really it. You have to actually look at some of these DJ pools and see what they have to offer and if it fits what you're looking for. Good to hear you're staying above those negative comments on that Mobb Deep thing. Let them be salty. Yeah, learning. But that's why it's also so important to, well, of course, have some knowledge of self, know yourself, but also, like, reading certain comments can tell you a lot about a person's mindset and their actual knowledge. So if someone sees a video and the first video they see of me is a video where it starts out where I'm repeating a part of the song by hitting a cue point, to a certain degree, I understand what their first impression might be. If they're one of these older DJs that started on vinyl and they feel that's their thing, a lot of those followers are probably like New York old cats, were there when hip hop started. They have a certain attachment to it and a certain feeling. A lot of times people like that feel that the era they came up in was the era, and everything that came after that is kind of watered down. So to a certain degree, I can even understand where their thinking is coming from. But knowing myself and knowing that that's not even what I am, I can't be hurt by it. Same thing if someone wants to have a discussion about hip hop with me, and then they make a statement that clearly shows me their lack of knowledge or their totally different taste when it comes to the music. If we're on the totally opposite spectrum of taste, there's no use for us to have any type of real discussion about it. Or at least I understand where someone's comment coming from. Because if someone tells me like they hear Public Enemy and they're like, oh man, that's just noise, and then I hear what they're listening to, I can even understand why they feel that way. Because if you've never heard that era, and then you hear a Public Enemy song produced by Bomb Squad, Hank Shockley with the crazy sounds and noises and wild horns, I can even understand why you feel that way. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to affect me. So having some knowledge of self and also empathy, knowing where people are coming from, is very important, because it allows you to either step into a discussion or talk in a different way, or know from the very beginning, like, yeah, okay, we're not on the same wavelength, so there's no need to go to take it there or take it anywhere. Sui, is that a repeat? Are you dropping bits again? Well, even if it's not the case, salute to you. Okay, we got one spam message. I'm not even going to go through the issue of heading over there. Let's see. Silent Disciple. Yeah, Periscope stopped. I think it was April 1st, and it was not an April Fool's joke. They stopped. But like I said, they were connected to Twitter or owned by Twitter. I'm not sure. But after Periscope stopped, I think you can even go online and go to periscope.tv/DJ TLM and see my old broadcasts. They're still there. But they stopped. But Twitter offers the exact same thing. So if you go to Twitter and you go to your profile, then below you have the three dots with more options. You have Media Studio. And in Media Studio, you have something called Twitter Producer. And if you click on that, you can create a live stream. And I can just give it a title. Choose the source. In my case, I choose Restream. And as soon as I start on Restream, Twitter sees it. And I can say create broadcast. The only thing I have to do after that is make sure I tweet it. So then it shows up on my page. Because if I don't tweet it, I don't think Twitter sees it. Or my audience can see it. So then I just drop a tweet, and in that tweet you see it, and I pin that tweet to the top of my my Twitter page, and then it is live, and the replays do stay on. So yeah, even if people aren't really watching it, it is another platform where people can run into it, and maybe from that they'll follow on other platforms or you name it. Let's see, Queen Caesar, what's going on? And that nigga says you can do a lot on Twitter now. They basically have their own clubhouse as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you're going to see on social media anytime. Like, as soon as certain features become, like, popular, you see them everywhere. Like, basically, everyone has stories now. You can do stories on YouTube, on Facebook, you name it. I think LinkedIn even dropped something like stories. That is all over the place. And the same thing will happen probably with Clubhouse type features as well. Live streaming, you can do that on any platform as well. Yeah. Let's see. And Suicide actually said, I saw that, but I forgot to mention it. From March 7th, 2020, I spent a total of 10 days not touching my turntables. Meaning that in the last year and like 4 months, 3 months, he's been online basically every single day. That is amazing. Is it okay to have both headphones in when scratching in a song at a gig? Or do you recommend scratching while listening to the speakers? Right now, I find it easier doing it with just my headphones. Well, you basically just answered your own question. That's what it's all about. If you feel more comfortable doing it that way, do it that way. So normally if I'm playing at a gig, I'll be scratching and I'm listening to the speakers, the monitor speakers, that is. So I'm playing in a venue. There are speakers from the PA system for the crowd, but I'll have monitor speakers in the DJ booth. Those are there for me to hear exactly how it's sounding in the room, to get the balance right, you name it. I load in my scratch sound and then I'm listening to the scratch sound through the speakers. So that's it. Now, I do that here when I stream as well. I can't make a lot of noise, so especially when I'm streaming longer and it becomes later, I turn the monitors down, or at a certain point, I even have to turn them off. At that point, I'm doing everything from the headphones. Well, not these headphones, because these are studio reference monitors, but I use these for the live stream. Actually, on that topic, before I continue, on Monday was my first time using these. Yes, I gotta get the wire untangled for a minute. I finally got my hands on the III TM02 headphones. Salute to III for sending these over. I reached out to them because I've heard a lot about III. And I mean, the first time I heard it years ago, I just thought it sounded funny. I didn't really pay it much mind. I heard III, sounded like III. I look, okay. Then over time, I started to hear more DJs talk about them very positively, like, yo, these are dope. Now, I can't really go out and just buy all sorts of headphones. I used to use my Sennheiser AC25s, long time, really love those. These actually kind of remind me of that. And I used the Pioneer HDJ 1000, and after that, I'm using the HDJ 2000 Mark II. Been using those for a very long time now, and I like them. But I was like, hey, I always want to be able to provide more info. And people ask me about speakers. I don't know a lot about speakers. People ask me about headphones. I want to try out more stuff. I've heard about these. They were like, yo, let's make it happen. And first impression is I really like them. Had to get used to the fact that these are really on the ear, where the Pioneer are more over the ear, but they're louder than the Pioneers. They have more low end in them, and these things are modular. So every part can easily be replaced, and they have an entire line. And I didn't even realize how far it went. So they have their TM02 turntables or headphones, but they have like 4 or 5 different bands made from different materials. This is the most sturdy one. Then they have their actual the speaker part for DJs, for hi-fi listening, wireless, you name it. And then they have different type of cushioning, and you can like put together your own headphones. Everything about this can be just easily attached. So these wires come off, and you can get a different one. Also meaning that if something breaks, you just have to buy one part and get the new part on your headphones, plug it in, and then you're good to go. So I was like, okay, I'm really liking this. I'll be doing a full review soon. But the most important thing for me is to actually try them out. So the first impression, really, really like them. So a big shout out to III. And I'll say it now, but I'll do that as well once I do the review. No arrangement has been made. I'm not being paid to use these headphones or review them, and they will not be seeing my video before I post it. I didn't mention stuff like that in the past when I was doing reviews, even though that was always the case. But over the years, I've been seeing more reviews where people drop this in the beginning of their video as full disclosure. And I feel that's important, just to mention that. But again, I will always let you know, like, yeah, they sent them to me. I'm shouting them out because I have a set of really dope headphones now. And yeah, that puts a smile on my face. Now, back to the stream. Collector Ski Music, salute to you. Costa Rica, salute to you. And what external hard drive do you recommend? Depends on what you're going to be using it for. If you need a lot of storage, then going the SSD route is still going to be pretty expensive. And a lot of storage, I mean, if you're looking for like a 8, 10 terabyte type solution, then SSDs are going to be really expensive. If you need something that's not as large, I used to really, and I still like them, the Samsung T5s, small SSDs, and like super portable, super fast, really like them. I now have something that's even faster. For the people who watch my stream, you know, I always look around the room, and most of the times I find what I'm talking about quite near me. Yep, here we go. Really liking this one right now. This is a Sandisk Extreme. Does it have another number? The Sandisk Extreme portable SSD. This is faster than the T5. This is a 1 terabyte. It's like dust and water resistant, not proof, but I think resistant. Super small, portable, 1 terabyte. I think these are like 130. Now, for 130, if you get like a traditional external hard drive, you can get something like a 6 or 8 terabyte drive. So it all depends. Is this something that's going to be at home? So in the studio, I have like 4 of these 6 and 8 terabyte drives, old-fashioned hard drives. At a certain point, I want to go full SSD because it's faster, but for now, it's okay. Those stay in place. This goes in my bag. I can carry it everywhere. It's an SSD, so you have no moving parts. So even if it drops, you're not going to kill your drive. So, but the Samsung T5s are also ones I really still like a lot. DJ Mike Dub, what's good? Salute to you on Facebook. Mixcloud is still the same. Let's see. Lerny says, Costa Rica says, I'm a chronic overthinker. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us have that. And yeah, for some things, it can be good. For a lot of things, it really can't. Especially when you start to overthink things that you can't change. I see a lot of people do that. They'll stress about stuff that they can't change. And that to me never makes a lot of sense, because then you're spending a lot of time and energy on something that might give you stress. And stress is also just not healthy for you. To stress about stuff that you can't fix. In some cases can't fix at the moment, or just can't fix because it's out of your control. Anyways, yeah, I know more people like that. So Lerny says, all of the beats you made and songs you produced, which ones are you most happy with? That's actually an easy answer. I posted this on IG, I think, yesterday. My favorite production up to this point, now I've made beats and I've produced tracks. There's a difference there. For those not familiar, if you're making a beat, you are making a beat. If you're producing a song, then most likely you also made the beat, but now you're actually creating an entire song. So you're there with the artist. You might even guide the artist, or you're making the arrangement for the song. You're deciding, like, when an artist does something, if you need to add more, take stuff out. So producing is more than just making the beat. My favorite song that I produced, and also probably one of my favorite beats, is a song called Crockett and Tubbs that I produced for Brainpower. Came out last year. It's a song about our friendship that he made. And basically Brainpower and TLM, he's calling us Crockett and Tubbs. The way that track turned out, and we're currently doing that in our tour. And we're actually, we finally, since last week, we finally got back on the road. And we're now finishing a tour that we actually started in late September of 2020, when we came out of a lockdown before we went into another lockdown. And in October, we had to stop in the middle of the tour because all the venues had to shut down. So since last week, we're finally getting around to finishing our tour. We've done 3 shows. We got 2 more to go. Crockett and Tubbs, the song is part of that set. Anytime that beat comes in and when that first drum drops and I hear that first part of bass line, it just covers me like a freaking warm blanket and I just get a smile on my face. That song makes me just really happy. Like I see you asking, what are you most happy with? That song just makes me freaking happy. So if you haven't checked him out, even if you don't speak Dutch, Brainpower, check him out on Tidal, Spotify, anywhere. The song is called Crockett and Tubbs. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite now. Original DJ Breeze says, I just signed to BeatSource this week. As far as gigs, do you tether your phone to your laptop to use it or rely on the locker? No, neither. Anytime I've used BeatSource Link at gigs, I've been using the Wi-Fi from the venue. So at least here in the Netherlands, most of the venues I play at will have decent Wi-Fi. And a lot of times the clubs will have Wi-Fi for the club, but they'll also have like a crew Wi-Fi, or it's called like backstage, but that's not accessible to the patrons. So that's only for us, meaning that there's not going to be like hundreds of people on that same network. Up until now, I've had great connections, and that was the way to go. If I would need to, I could tether my phone to do it, but I would only do that for shorter gigs. I have a pretty good plan when it comes to data on the phone, but I wouldn't want to use that for hours and run out of data. And I do have the top tier subscription, so I can store 100 tracks offline. But when it comes to that, I still have all the music I had before I started using BeatSource. So if I go to a gig, I will make sure I have my own folders on the computer. So even if I decide to use BeatSource and anything happens to the connection, I can always rely on my music. Most of us, if you were DJing before the last year, you should have like a collection of music on your computer. So your own folders are basically your backup in that case. And Costa Rica says Giannis and Ben Simmons are prime examples of your NBA analogy. Yeah, 1,000%. Now, Ben Simmons is a little bit of a different case, of course, because Ben Simmons just doesn't have a shot at all. So he doesn't even really have like a jumper. Giannis, a little bit. But they are both like monsters that really just need to go to the basket to get a bucket. But yeah, if you put them on the free throw line, all of a sudden they're not shooting. I mean, with Ben Simmons, they basically brought the Hack-a-Shack back for Ben Simmons. Just knowing like, hey, we're going to foul him because if we put him on the line, most likely he's going to miss, which is crazy. That being said, this season, and then I'll get off of that because this is not an NBA live stream. This season is kind of crazy though, man. Like the shortened rest time, like the shortened off season, really had an effect. If you see the amount of stars and regular players, but also stars that suffered injuries, it really changed the entire dynamic of the playoffs, at least. Now, even today, like Kawhi is not going to play the next game. He had a great game 4, and that last thing that happened with the knee, he's out for game 5. He might be out for the rest of this series, maybe longer. It keeps on going. Like Kyrie just got hurt too. It just keeps going. And now we got Chris Paul, who's in COVID protocol. Don't know for how long that will be. Now, that's a different scenario, of course. NBA can't really help that. But, yeah. Okay, enough. I like basketball. Let's see. Okay, I got to look that up as well. Lerny says he's telling Costa Rica to look up Dinos and Comics on Instagram. They have great comics about overthinking. I wanna see that. Yeah, Roger A. Martin. It's like PK. If you overthink, you'll miss. If you relax and trust your training, you'll be fine. It's all mental. I agree. Hitting the cue point button is no different than a DJ keep playing a cue. Spin it back, play it again, spin it back, play it again. It's less effort, Yao. It's asinine thinking. I agree, like partially. Like yes, but the way I was doing it, for instance, is I was repeating it nonstop. So I was playing the sentence and then straight away playing it again. You couldn't do that with normal vinyl unless you had the same copy on both sides, of course, and then you're backspinning. And that is a lot more effort than just pressing Q. But beyond that, yeah, there are still a lot of people from a certain era who still think as soon as they see a digital DJ that the person is not DJing and that the computer is doing it. They still have this weird feeling or weird thought that all of a sudden you're just standing there and the equipment is doing everything, which, of course, if you're a digital DJ, you know that that's not the case. Danger, what's going on, Danger Roll? Salute to you. I wonder how many times we forgive someone just because we don't want to lose them. Okay, that came kind of out of the blue for me, but yeah, it does happen though. Some people will let some people get away with a lot just because they want to maintain some type of relationship. DJ Cable, salute to you as well. And Series 1, I appreciate that follow. Suey with the bits again. Yo, loving it. We got Dyron Franco. What's going on? I hope it's Dyron. So I just won the national DJ competition, and the judges were, which are big time DJs in my country, are telling me to almost triple my price, but I'm not sure if I should. So first off, congratulations. That's dope. Well, I assume that you told them your price if they're telling you to triple your price. And if you just won a national DJ competition, I don't know in what way. In some countries, that might be a big push to help you get gigs. In some countries, it might not do a lot. If they are big-time DJs in that country, they could have a better view of what's normal if you're playing in these higher tiers. And they could hear your price and be like, yo, you should be charging way more. Now, I understand that it's always kind of tricky to raise your price. So, and I really can't comment on the situation because I'm not familiar with what's normal there. I don't know you, don't know your situation. But I would view it like this. If you currently have no gigs at all at your current price, raising your price most likely is not going to be a good thing. If you have plenty of gigs, then you could try to raise your price and see what happens. And a lot of times you'll be surprised, like, okay, especially if you have a buzz around you and if this national DJ competition can lead to like good promo, there's a possibility that it could definitely be a right choice to make. Now, I don't know if you should triple it straight away. Like, again, I can't really comment on that. If they're big time DJs and they told you that, I don't know if you're still in contact with them, but I would definitely try to get some more info. Cable says I use the NS7 Mark III, great controller. All my gigs, and my friend Old School Cat from New York calls me a fake DJ because I don't use turntables. Yeah, that I mean, your friend is just a lame. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know him. I can't really say that about him, but that comment is just so lame. And you're even using something that's way more comparable to a turntable compared. If you take a normal controller and a turntable, they're like a world apart. You're even using a controller with the motorized platter and the 7-inch motorized platters on them with that real vinyl feel. But yeah, that's not a friend. That's not a friend. That's all I can say. And I mean, you're even like you're already calling him a friend. I mean, the Old School Cats from New York, yeah, they have a certain way about them, especially if they are really old school, really judgy. But I would not care about that comment at all. So Vest says, how do the III headphones pair up to the Pioneer one? So compare. So like I said, they're louder. That's one thing. The IIIs are louder than the Pioneer. And I could hear more low end. Now, I don't know if that's better because I never had an issue using the Pioneer headphones. I kind of like that audio coming from them. Then again, when I was using the IIIs, I was really liking what's coming from them. So I'm going to compare them a little bit more. See if there's a good way to do like a proper comparison. I did use my computer and just play one song, listen to these headphones and the Pioneers and then to those, and they all sound totally different. But I'll do some more testing. Adamant, I appreciate that follow and I appreciate that subscription. Much love for that support. Then we have Gusty asking, what was your longest DJ gig? I'm just wondering if you're booked as a DJ for, let's say, 8 hours and you're supposed to play hip-hop, just hip-hop and R&B, and you're just by yourself all night. How do you stay motivated, and what if you need to leave your set for a minute? Do you put in a prepared mix for a while? So my longest set was probably somewhere between... I don't know. I think about around 7 hours. I think between 6 and 7. I've done a lot of 6-hour sets, and I think I did one that was longer, but something like that. And at that time, I was basically playing hip hop and a little bit of R&B. Now, I was able to stay motivated just because I'm playing the music that I love, and it's kind of fun to try and build in kind of these energy waves because you can't stay peak all time, so you gotta find out ways to bring the level down a little bit without like killing the party and then bringing it back up. At that time, I was still playing all vinyl, so I couldn't like put on a prepared mix or something like that. So I did have like a couple of like longer songs because during that 6-7 hour set, most likely you're going to need a bathroom break. So you need to have a longer song ready so you can put that on and just run for that bathroom to make it back in time. Yeah, that's what I used to do. And Feta, yes, I've actually heard a lot of good stuff about V-Moda as well. If possible, at a certain point, I'll try to get my hands on those as well. Like over the years, you'd hear a lot more brands coming in. Like back in the days, I just saw a lot of people like me that were using the Sennheisers. There were a lot of people using a certain type of older Sonys. I don't remember which one, but I saw a lot of DJs using that. Then DJs were using Pioneer as well. And then all of a sudden you started to see DJs just rocking all sorts of brands because there were just more brands out there. So then I saw, never heard of V-Moda, then I saw V-Moda. Then some people were rocking like Beats by Dre, III. So I started to hear about more brands, but first off, I had headphones. I wasn't looking for other headphones. Couldn't afford like to buy all headphones. But over the years, you start to hear more positive stories. So I've heard more good things about V-Moda, heard good things about III. So at a certain point, it's dope to try them out, especially because of the platform I have. And when people ask me questions, I would love to be able to answer all questions from experience. And in my case, if I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. So if someone asks me, how's that controller? If I haven't tried it, I'll let you know straight away. I don't know. But I would love to be able to test everything so I can just at least share my experience. Can you download songs on BeatSource on your Mac? Or do you only play it on the app? So, Ken, if you go to BeatSource, it's just an online store. So if there's any songs there that you want to have, you can buy them there and then you can download them. So basically, just like you can do on iTunes or you can do on Beatport, you just buy the music and it's yours. If you subscribe to the BeatSource link service, then you can stream that music in your DJ software. In that case, you're not downloading it, but you do have the offline locker. Those songs are basically stored on your computer, but they're still only to be used in your DJ software. So yeah, so basically you're only playing it in the DJ app. Feta says SSD when playing out. Yeah, like for now, for sure. Like back in the days, people would bring their like external hard drives. First off, you're going to need like power for that. They're large. They get hot. Like having something like a T5. And Feta says better drop protection on the Sandisk. Yes, this one, like it's super rugged as well. They weigh basically nothing. So it's so easy to have in your pocket. And they're way faster than the old hard drives for sure. Coco Music Factory says, I'm DJing at my family reunion in 2022, and it's more about having fun. But frankly, I want to do a decent job. I will have to rent speakers. It's cross country. I plan to rent from Guitar Center. I have a mixer that I plug my beginner controller, monitor, speakers, and mic into, and I have space for more speakers. What should I consider for renting speakers? So here we are at that part where my knowledge is lacking. I have no experience with like speakers for parties, renting speakers, PA speakers. The only thing I think is something you should consider is how many people are you playing for? Because you will need a different set if you're playing for 20 or 200 people. So if you know that you're playing for 40 people, then maybe here in the chat. Otherwise, just Google to try to look for best PA speakers for an X size party for 40 people, whatever, to be able to find some information. And like the venue as well. Like if you're playing in a very small space, there's no need to have like super powerful speakers with like mad subs in there, because the smaller room doesn't need that much power in there. But I can't go into detail just because I simply don't know about that. So in the chat, if anyone can help Coco Music Factory out with this, please share the knowledge. And otherwise, at least take into consideration what I just said, the size of the venue or outside, how much space do you have, inside, outside, how many people. Feta is actually saying just that. He says how many people, there's a rough formula for calculating the wattage required. Cool. Curtis says Crockett and Tubbs is pure fire. I appreciate that. I feel the same way. Okay, 150 people. See, that's a nice amount of people right there. Okay, Fly DJ Eli is in the building. Salute. And or were you already here? Yeah, maybe you were already here. I'll shout you out again. Do you mind sharing what frames per second you're streaming in? I've seen people stream 24 and some say 30 FPS is what I do. If I was a gamer, it'd be 60 FPS, and as far as I know, for the rest, it's 30. Like 24 is like what you do on cameras when you're trying to go for that cinematic feel, cinematic look. That's not what I'm going for when I'm DJing. So I'm sticking to 30. Now, beyond that, I don't know if there's a right and wrong. I just see most people are streaming in 30, most gamers in 60. So that's what I went for. If I'm shooting a normal YouTube video and I'm filming with my camera, I do 24 frames. So Feta is helping Coco Music Factory out, I see, and that's what I love. Like, share the knowledge, and I'll continue to say this. This is not just a Q&A where I'm answering questions. It's also about you connecting, and if someone sees a question and you know the answer, you jump in, and now someone is getting the help they need for a party just by being in the chat. Loving it. Oh, I have a Mixcloud alert here. I see something happening. I think DJ Knowledge is going off. Let me see. Let me just place that phone here for a second. I don't want to hop over there every time. Yeah, we good. All right, DJ Knowledge. Any motorized platter is dope to me. Yes, love the NS7 because of it. Me too. I like the Sony 7506. I don't know if that's that old model or if that's a newer Sony. The only issue I have with V-Moda is ear fatigue. The bass is so heavy that after a long period of time, you get ear fatigue. All right, that's a good one. And the thing I said about the III, the only thing I had to get used to for a second is that it's really more on ear compared to my Pioneers, which are more over ear. And I kind of gotten used to over ear because my studio headphones, these are clearly over ear. These are the Akg Q701, the Quincy Jones edition. Reference headphones, incredible amount of detail, but these are not for DJing at all. These will let you hear any little thing, but they're, I don't want to compare them to my NS10 monitor speakers, but their sound is just not really made for what you want as a DJ. But Like the Pioneers. Let's see if I get the IIIs next to them. Can you see that actually? Yeah, I think a little bit. The Pioneers are clearly bigger. Like the you have a lot more for the ear there. So I got used to that. So that's the only thing I had to get used to. But it brings me back more to my Sennheiser HD25 days, which were also like really on ear. And something you have to get used to as well, like, okay, ear fatigue, and also how does it feel like when you wear them a long time? Are they too tight? Those are all things you have to experience by using them. Computer has saved my back having to cart vinyl to gigs. Yep. Like, I did that for such a long time, taking, like I said, 3 to 4 crates to every gig. Then you get home. I had to carry them upstairs and then inside the house downstairs again in the middle of the night / early morning. I don't miss that at all. I really don't miss that at all. Let's see. We got Barnes Emma. I appreciate that follow. Salute to you. And Roger A. Martin says, I think my Denon 5000M is like playing 45s on a spinning platter. Yeah, like the 5000M and the NS7 basically feel like the same thing. Okay, heard something weird outside. I don't even think the mic is catching that. Queen Caesar says, what are some adjustments that you do to sharpen your beat matching skills? Just keep practicing, bringing the tracks in and blending till it's solid. Yeah, basically. That's basically what I do. That's basically what I do. So, of course, in the beginning, you're learning how to beat match. One of the things that was kind of tricky to me in the beginning is, what do I focus on? So what sound do I listen to hear if they're playing in sync? Most of the times I choose the snare drums, because with hip hop, the kick drums can be more over the place. But most of the times you'll have your snares on the 2 and 4. And the kick drums can be all over the place. Now, if you're mixing house music, you just have your 4 to the floor, boom, 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 kick drums. So then you can focus on that. With hip hop, I tend to focus on that snare. Unless you're using Timberland beats and all of a sudden it's a boom, 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 and they're not on the 2 and 4, they're just a little bit different. Or he comes in with the cat type of beats. But most of the times, that snare was what I focus on, and then it's like bringing it in and just practicing on having laser focus on getting those snares matched up, being able to hear straight away if it's falling behind or getting ahead. So do I need to slow it down or speed it up? Practicing over and over, you become better at that. You start to hear it faster. You start to learn like how hard you can push it to get it there while you adjust your pitch. Practice, 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 practice. Mozali says, nowadays, what's your weekly DJ routine in that you're not playing many gigs? My weekly DJ routine is I do crates on Monday. So every Monday I'm DJing. That's my DJ routine. Now, I did have my first tour gigs again. I also had one TV gig 2 weeks ago. I have a DJ gig I have a festival in September. I believe I have one DJ gig coming up now in August, and a couple of more gigs. And when I say gigs, I'm talking about shows with Brainpower. So performances with the artist. A couple more in July and August. But right now, like the gig routine, the gig schedule is still very low. It's just starting up again. So that's the cool thing about live streaming. I know I'm DJing every Monday. And for some of the DJs I know, it's not just every Monday. It's like 4 times a week, 6 times a week, you name it. V-Moda M100 are great with memory foam upgrade. Roland owns the company, solid build. Nice. I need to look into that, the memory foam thing. Okay, Suicide says playing Knee Deep from George Clinton. It's 15 minutes long. So that's a great way if you need to have a little break or head to the bathroom. Mixmaster G also says Samsung T5. Yep. At a certain point, I also had one AV8. An AV8 made those party breaks. But they had one, I think it was a DJ Riz break, which was basically a 10-minute mix of him mixing like breaks that were used in hip-hop tracks. Let's say a dope version of what the Serato page is doing with that one guy, but this was like a live, like a mixed thing, and it had two sides with all original samples on there mixed together. So it was a cool, like mellow type of listen, but I couldn't do that mid-party if I was in a hype part of the party. Marcus Black says, you answered the question for me a long time ago in a video playing music on turntables. All right, I'm happy I did. Salute to you. And DJ One Flight says, QSC speakers. Coco Music is thanking everyone. DJ One Flight says 2 tops and 1 sub. DJ Superior has entered the building. Salute to you, bro. And who else is here? All right, let me see. Let me check. Fly DJ Eli, let me check for a second because I recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I had to, I changed my my website hosting service. So same company, but I changed plan and moved to a different server within their system. But that also means that I have to reset all of my email settings because those settings were set to one server. I think I may have not changed the STK email yet. So let me check that out because that is important. Otherwise, I'm not receiving them yet. I did it for a couple of my emails. I think I didn't do that yet for the STK. I'm going to check that for you. And then look into it. Yes. Thanks for the follow, Obi-Wan Corona. Love that name, bro. And yeah, Feta says replaceable and customizable parts are a big selling point for headphones. Yeah, like with those IAIs, like all of the parts can be just taken out, and that is I love that. Like with the Pioneers, which I love playing with. But if something happens here, the wiring is internal. Is happening in here. You don't see any wires. I mean, that's cool. But if anything happens, I can't just fix that. If this breaks, it breaks. And here, everything is just plug and play. Same thing with, by the way, you can plug this into both sides as well. So if you prefer to have the wire on the left, you put it on the left. You want it on the right, you can put it on the right. All that stuff. Hi, Marcus. That's dope. First time here. Yeah, every Wednesday I'm here. It's all about just talking about DJing. Like at a certain point, I would have like a couple of topics to talk about. I don't even do that now because there's always so many questions to get into that there's plenty to talk about. And like I just mentioned as well, like sometimes people can just help each other out as well. That's super dope to see. Ken Ark says, I see scratch DJs scratching for long periods of time, but when I scratch for a few minutes, my shoulder and hand starts to hurt and I give up. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing it enough. It's as simple as that. It's training. It's like for really real training. You're using muscles. You have to train that. Now, on top of that, because I don't see you doing it, it might also be how you stand. It could be your position. So for instance, you say your shoulder hurts. Like let's just say I have a setup that maybe is way too high and I have to like stand like this to do my scratches. If I stand like this and I do it for a while, I'll start to feel my shoulder. So positioning is also important. Like if I have a good position, I can do this for days. At a certain point, I was like practicing like my chirps, and I was watching DJ Revolution, and he was doing that, and he could do it for super long. And then I tried it, and after like I don't know how many seconds, I started to feel like I'm almost losing the rhythm, but now I'm starting to feel like muscles starting to ache. That takes practice, so I had to practice more and able to do it longer. So practice is most likely the thing, but make sure you're also in a good position. Like for some people, their hand position is also just weird. There's not like one way to do it, but if your hand is in a weird type of position, it could also cause weird friction and it starts to hurt faster. Jaspertje and L, all good. And no, I can't play music here. If you want to hear me play music, you got to be here on Monday. I do a live stream every Monday called Crates, but you won't hear songs like Hardwell, like you're mentioning. When I do my live stream on Monday, it's hip hop R&B, and sometimes I'll branch out from anything to funk soul to UK garage, but it's mostly hip hop and R&B. Yeah, Suicide, it might be that one. But it's DJ Riz indeed. Costa Rica says, my main issue on actual turntables was not being able to figure out which one to speed up or slow down with matching. When I first saw Serato, it opened a new world for me. I work better visually. Yeah, but there is a danger there. And a lot of people do that, and they get used to the visuals. And that's why I see too many DJs also on IG when they're posting like clips. Anytime they're doing something, and even if the laptop is out of frame, you see those eyes focusing on that screen. That's a danger. I'm not saying it's bad, but anything that takes you away from just being here and in the moment is actually tricky. But I totally understand what you mean. But that was what I was talking about. Like my focus was really to find the sound to focus on to find out if it's playing too fast or too slow. I chose the snares. So as soon as I bring it in, I'm listening to the snare. Snares most likely will have a different sound. A lot of times kicks can have the same sound, which still makes it harder to differentiate. But with the snares, a lot of times the snare will be in a different pitch, or one is a clap, one is a snare, one is a snap, one is a clap. That made it a little bit easier for me to focus on that. Indeed. Right. And Marcus Black says, if you need a bathroom break, play Doing It to Death by James Brown. And Jaspertje. So just in case you didn't know, you probably know now. I'm following the stream and I'm reading the questions there. And you might ask a question now. It's going to take me some time to get there. So, for instance, right now, your hey, skipping my messages all the time was put in at 9:31. It's now 9:37. So it takes a time for me to get through the questions. Also reading questions off Mixcloud here. And DJ Knowledge says the height of the setup makes a big difference. 1,000%. Like we were talking about with the scratching and everything. Also mixing, like some people have their setup way too low, then you're standing in this really weird arch position, and that's going to hurt your back. So having a position where everything is basically straight, almost something like this, even though this is a little bit high, but I'm sitting now. But if I'm standing, I would still like to be somewhere near this, or just a little bit lower than this, but not too low. Jadex says, I've been DJing for like a couple of years already, but thanks to the pandemic, I can't DJ in clubs. Welcome to the club. We've all been through that year. Any tips on how to DJ online? Also, any tips on how to throw Discord parties as DJ? Well, I mean, the tips to DJ online is live streaming, and you can do that anywhere. But I would suggest go to Twitch if you want to find a community. Mixcloud is the way to go. YouTube, you can try that, but they'll most likely you could get into trouble there. But live streaming is a way to go. That's what a lot of people have been doing during this last year because it's a great way to still play. So yeah, we've all been in that situation. Like most of us haven't had gigs in a very long time. And this was a great outlet. And I know for a lot of people, even though gigs are coming back in, a lot of us will remain to also do live streaming. Now, for me personally, my show is on Monday. Monday is not a gig day for me, so it's not going to be that hard for me to continue to do that. If I would have chosen a Friday or Saturday as my stream day, that could be an issue because when gigs come in, they're most likely going to be around that weekend. And then I would have to like pre-record, which makes no sense because then you're not interacting with the people anymore. Or I would have to try and find a new time. But yeah, live streaming is the way to go. Feta says, train your bladder if you can. I did a 9-hour set with no break once. Valuable skill to have. Yeah, but it's as far as I know, it's not the most healthy thing to do. Lerny says you could also buy a big bottle. So any tips on how to pipe sound from controller to OBS or Discord? I've been having issues with monitoring while trying to get my setup to work. So you need to go from the output of your controller into your computer. So most likely you're going to need an audio interface to connect to your computer. There are very cheap audio interfaces out there. I'm going to say it wrong, but I believe what I've been hearing about for the last couple of months here in the chat is the Behringer, the Behringer, the 222, if I'm not mistaken, something 222. Very cheap audio interface that people are really, really excited about. Like the quality is good, but you go from the output of your controller into an audio interface that's connected to your computer, and then you get your audio in there. Streaming on Discord, I don't know about. That is new to me. Like I know a lot of streamers will use Discord to build their community or to have their community there to talk, but streaming is done on the streaming platforms. If I'm missing something, let me know in the chat. DJ Arch has a question. When I search for a track in BeatSource link in my DJ software, it doesn't show if the track is clean or dirty. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they are working on that. But that's why I try to make playlists in advance so I can pick the right tracks. But I don't think it shows it, indeed. So Arch, there's a lot of things that they are still working on. It's a work in progress. They've improved things already, and that will continue to happen. Same thing with like more instrumentals coming in, edits coming in. And I've heard this issue before from DJs, like, hey, we need to really be able to see clean or dirty. So I think that's something that's being worked on. But actually, I'm going to have a call later in this week, and I'll also ask about that. And Costa Rica says 9 hours without a bathroom break is tough for us older G's. But yes, I agree. Especially now that a lot of us are getting in the habit of like drinking. I see a lot of people like drink water. If you're drinking water, at a certain point, it just starts to flow straight through. Soulful, what's good? Soulful Dose, I see you. I appreciate that. And Feta says, I use the Serato SL3 box as a sound card. Useful if you have one that you don't use. Yeah, great. How to get people to notice your social media pages or YouTube as a new DJ. Well, Debo Basket, like, you're just going to have to really be active and become a part of communities. It just doesn't happen. Like, there's no, like, such a thing as, like, just spamming. So it's not like you can go onto other pages and things and just be like, hey, check out my page. That doesn't work. So if you want to try and become part of a community, you're gonna have to be in there. So if it's on IG and you play a certain style of music, then you go into that search and you search for artists, like hashtag certain artists that people that you play, that people like, and then you can see posts about those artists, and then you can join in and also talk about that, become part of it. There's way much more to it, but there's no such thing as just being noticed. Like, I start to know about people here in the comments, in the chat, because certain people I see appear a lot of times. So adding actual value. So for instance, I'm not sure if Feta, I'm not sure if you were here before, but like, for instance, now I know the name. And if people see Feta and they see the value that's been added, they might even click on the page. And I've learned a lot of new names, and some of these names I'll click on at a certain point. So that is one way to go about it. There's no such way as just like spamming or anything like that. But if you're a new DJ, are you new that you're just starting out? Because if that's the case, then this is not even something you should really be worried about. You should be focusing on your DJing. Now, at the same time, of course, it's great to become part of online communities, but you should be focusing on the DJing more than anything. Chadex says there's such a thing like voice meter, which is basically a virtual audio cable, sort of replaces an audio interface, but it's damn hassle. Yeah, there are things like that. The newest version of Serato also has something like that. I haven't tried it out yet. Best soundboard for me is a Focusrite 2i2. Yeah, that's also a good audio interface, like a pretty small one. I think the Behringer is even way less, or I don't want to say less expensive, because that Focusrite is not expensive. I think the Behringer is even cheaper. Okay, Curtis says, I have an SL3 box. It never crossed my mind, so he might start to do that. And Marcus Black, you also know about those bathroom breaks. I get it. God's Own, good to see you, and I appreciate that subscription 2 months in a row. And DJ Arch just subscribed as well. L Street Beats just subscribed. Jorge Blanco just subscribed. Sui just cheered 50 bits. Is God's Own throwing subscriptions again? God's Own, are you doing that again? Because I see those subscriptions in a row, and I know you did that last time as well. It's not showing that in the chat, but I think that is what's happening. So God's Own, I really appreciate that. Much love for that support. Feta says first time tuning in. See, but that's what I'm talking about. So for instance, Feta, I'm using you as an example now. And I also understand that not everyone can add the same amount of value. In this case, Feta knows stuff, but just being part of the conversation, just being part of the community also gets you noticed. I know there's at least 4 people in there that already took advantage of the value that Feta offered, so now they know that name. They might even click on the Twitch page and might even follow. That is going to be the best way to gain attention, even if you're not doing it to gain attention, but you're just being there. But it works. And it will work way better than people who sometimes will come in. I even get them on IG like, hey, follow my page. Sometimes I ignore. Sometimes I'll just reply with, why? Why would I add you to my timeline just because you ask? It doesn't really work. On YouTube, I see it as well. Like under like major artists, when they post a new video, you see people in the comment section like, check out my page for my new music. I don't think a lot of people will click. Phil Cross says, how do you navigate around bars and lounges that don't pay what you ask or DJs undercutting you? Well, I've never really been in the bar and lounge scene, so I don't really know about that. DJs undercutting you. I've had that happen in the past. Even DJs that I knew. And then you're doing a gig, and then you find out from the owner, like, yeah, that and that DJ actually called me and offered to come play at this party for less. You're like, okay. You know what it is? I mean, those were not close friends, so I heard it. I might keep it in mind. At the same time, I also know that the owner, by telling me, also lets me know like how he feels about those type of DJs. So they may have actually just messed it up for themselves with that owner. Other owners might be like, oh, okay, I can get a DJ for cheaper. I'll take it. If that's the case, I don't even want to play at that party. If DJs don't want to pay what I ask, then I'm not playing at the party most likely. Yeah, that's basically it. But I'm not familiar with the bar and lounge scene. And Tonebone70 says, I use the Native Instruments Audio DJ 4. Yep. And Phil Cross is DJ Feel. So salute to you, DJ Feel. And Debo Basket says, thank you. I'm new as in on social media. Okay. I'm into Afro beats mostly, but I don't see that many DJs / groups or communities doing this in my area. Yeah, because that is the thing, of course. Like, online notoriety won't automatically mean that it's going to lead to gigs in your area. For instance, the same thing with me. I actually built a global audience, but having a global audience online for my educational videos doesn't lead to more gigs here in Amsterdam, here in the Netherlands. So those are kind of separate things as well. But then again, if you're looking to build as a DJ in your area, normally the best thing to also do is you just start your own small events. Now, currently we're in a tricky time when it comes to starting events. I get that, but once things really open up again, starting your own little event in a small venue with just friends and trying to find the people that like that music in your area and building from there is also a very good thing to do, besides all of the social media stuff going on. If you organize your own little events like that, even if it's like only for 50 people, but those 50 people really like the music you play, so it's a great party from that perspective. You make sure you shoot footage of people having fun at your party. Video, photos. You can post those online again to help also build your brand. So there's multiple things going on that could help. But we're in a crazy kind of time still, but we're getting out of it slowly. Let's see. John Willett, what's going on? I've been watching you for years. Appreciate you sharing the knowledge. DJ Replay from Nova Scotia. Salute to you. Love doing it. Continue to do this. And yeah, very soon I should be dropping a lot more on YouTube again too. I've been working on some stuff, but it's taking a little bit longer than I thought. And let's see. What are some of the things to do, mistakes to avoid when trying to promote yourself or get noticed? So one of the things I would consider a don't is, like I said, to just go into forums or comments and just be like, hey, check me out. That just doesn't really work. Check out my mix. I wouldn't say if it's a mistake that's going to haunt you, but I just don't think that is something that will work. For some people, I would say, like, also don't try to get out there too early. Like, it's really easy now to get out there. Not saying you're going to get noticed, but to just put stuff out there. And I see DJs who are clearly not ready to put themselves out there because of the fact that they can't do it. Make sure you reach a certain level before you do that. Or the other approach would be that you actually let people join in on the journey from the beginning, but then you really have to start like from the beginning, like, hey, what's going on? I'm going to become a DJ. I'm starting at the very beginning and letting people see just the whole journey from the beginning. That's a different type of story, because then people might actually, when they run into you, follow that storyline. Like, hey, this is a person learning how to DJ, showing the practice, telling the experience. But then you see people who don't share anything like that and just post a video like, hey, this is me scratching. And then you can tell, like, you can't scratch yet. You shouldn't be posting that if this is how you're trying to promote yourself. I think. Costa Rica, salute to you. Peace out if you're still there. Yeah, I think that was posted just now. Thanks for joining as usual. Much love. And I think Soulful Those already said, like, I think it was Afro Beats, right? Oh, no, sorry. That was Debo Basket. Soulful Those says, trying to find people that like the music I like. And what's Soulful Those playing? Let's see. Scroll. I'll get to that. Queen Caesar says, with footage, do you hire professional photographers or videographers to get content while you DJ during gigs? Or do you get footage on your own while DJing somehow? Look, I've done it by myself, but it's not the greatest. I had plenty of gigs where I brought my camera and everything and never got around to shooting footage because I had to just start my gig. And once I got into that, it was over. Or if I was lucky, I would like bring something like a GoPro with a clamp, have it set up, and then it would film the gig. So yes, I've taken plenty of footage by myself. If possible, it's great to get someone to do that. But like hiring professional photographers and videographers, that's an investment that a lot of DJs might not be able to make. But maybe you can find someone within your friends group or whatever to do that for you. Or maybe find a young videographer online who wants to get the experience and get that person to come along. But try to get footage whenever you can. So even if you just have, even if you only have your phone, you can buy a sturdy mini tripod. Like I use the Manfrotto Pixie. They're not that big. They're really strong, under $20. And get yourself like one of these clamps that you can attach to it for your phone. Put up my phone, shoot some footage with that. Any little thing can help. Or if there's anyone there you know, ask them if they can take a couple of pictures, either with your phone or with their phone, and send them to you. Even if you have 2 photos from the gig and like 20 seconds of video, any little bit of footage can help because it can allow you to at least showcase it, like, hey, okay, this person is actually playing at gigs. Photos are cool. Having some video of you rocking the crowd is always dope, of course. But any way you can. Any footage is better than no footage, I would say. Valdez says, have you ever thought about opening your personal school, not online, for young people who want to be DJs? Greets from Latvia. My own school? No, not really. No. My plan is to offer online person-to-person lessons in the future, but currently I do not feel like that is my path yet. But that is something I want to do at a certain point. So school has not really been on my mind. No. Right now, the focus is really on just the content I'm making. Then it's going to be the online courses and like the lessons, a school type of situation. That's going to be probably years from now. But that's an online school. Like an in-person school, not on my mind. But who knows? Maybe in the future, I'm like, hey, that could be a cool idea. And have a spot where I might have my own studio and have a separate room where I can also do like lessons. Tonebone says practice. Yeah, I agree. John Willett, I will do a Saturday scratch session really soon. Get a new one up there. That's been a while too. And so Feta says for big weddings, I hire a professional videographer. Even though I can do it myself, I need to concentrate on playing. Yes. Like, especially for wedding gigs, like I also don't think it's the professional thing to do. Like if you're playing at a person's wedding and all of a sudden you're like filming 100,000 selfie type things, probably not a good look. It'll even look better for you as the DJ if you have a professional videographer there. Lerny says, can you tell I can't really find Debo Basket 101 on Instagram, Twitch, or Google? If he can let us know what his handle is, I can maybe help him out a bit. Okay. And where was Debo posting from? Was that on YouTube? Yeah. So Debo Basket was on YouTube. And you can't find him on any of those places. Okay. Thank you, Debo Basket, letting us know I'm a girl. DJ Ada Official. So, quick question, DJ Ada. Why is your YouTube name Debo Basket 101? Because one thing also, when it comes to branding, it is very useful if, first off, if people can find you online, but more importantly, like also like in this case, someone saw your YouTube handle thinking that's your name and can't find anything on the other platforms because you have a totally different name there. So it would be more sense to have the same name on the different platforms. If you plan to use YouTube for your DJing as well, of course. Did I miss anything else? So Gizmo's asking, have you used the Pioneer DJM S7 yet? Hell yeah. I probably done, I don't know, at least 6 live streams with it. I've done at least 6 live streams with it. I've done one or at least one comparison and one review video on my YouTube channel about it as well. So yes, I've tried it, used it, love it. So check my YouTube channel for that video about the S7, and I'll be streaming with it soon. Let me see. I'm using that for the tour right now, even though it's still Pioneer's mixer. It's not mine, but I'm using it for that tour. So it's currently not. That's why I have the S11 up here as well, which is also Pioneer's, by the way. But yeah, the S7 is dope. I own the S9, but I really love that S7 and this S11. Feta says, not sure if, and the name is not showing. That's Twitch censoring. Operates in your countries, but you can hire an expensive camera for around $30. Ask a buddy to film if possible if you have a minimal budget. So I don't know what the expensive camera is. And then again, like the thing is, an expensive camera is only really useful if you have someone who knows how to use it. Then it becomes more useful. I'm not saying it's not useful at all, but it will become more useful if someone actually knows what to do. But yes, you do have services here. So for instance, in the Netherlands, you have a store called Budget Cam, which is a rental service for cameras. They offer all sorts of cameras to rent. But again, if you can't do that, most of you will probably have a phone that can shoot decent quality footage. Even if that's where you begin, you can always upgrade, but just know if you don't have any camera or anything at all, use your phone. It's better than having no footage. So Feta says, yeah, I should have mentioned you need a buddy that knows what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. I remember one time I gave someone my phone to film, and they did the exact opposite. They thought they had pressed record, so they didn't record that first part. Then they hit stop. Then it started recording, and there was a whole bunch of just not me. And then they came back to film me. You saw the camera go towards me, and then it stopped because they thought they hit record again, but then they hit stop again. So I had no footage afterwards. It happens. Megawatt, what's going on? Salute to you. And Tone Bone says, thinking about going from a Numark NS7 to a Rain 1. Your thoughts? My thoughts are that is up to you. Like, you have an NS7, which is a great controller. I assume you have the Mark 1 since you're not adding like a 2 or 3. So the Rain 1 is probably a little bit, is a little bit more catered towards the modern version of Serato, because an NS7, of course, was made for a really old version of Serato. We're talking about the days when you had Scratch Live for the turntables, and what was the name again? Wow, it was just in my head and it just slipped out. We were using Serato for the controllers. It was even a different version of Serato. It'll come back to me. But the Rain 1 is suited for the modern Serato. It's a little bit smaller. The platters are the same, about the same size. But does it have features that you're currently missing? That's the question. Or do you just want to have a smaller unit? Otherwise, I don't know if you need to make the switch. Queen Caesar says, I followed you on IG. Love supporting female DJs. We got to stick together. There you go. Itch. Thank you. Serato Itch. Yeah. Back in the days when you had Serato Scratch Live and Serato Itch. And at a certain point, they decided, like, this makes no sense to constantly have to work on two different types of Serato. Let's just bring them together and call it Serato DJ. Yeah. All right, 96 says, how do you deal with BPM? That area double what they play at. For example, 128 BPM, but the song is 64 when mixing. Oh, all right. I'm trying to understand the question here. I'm trying to understand the question. And I'm actually not sure if I understand the question. So maybe if you can ask it in a different way, which makes more sense to me. I'm trying to understand it, but I don't really see the question here. In the meantime, let me move on for a sec. Tone Bone, no problem. There we go. DJ Ada official with the follow. With her real name, with her DJ name. There we go. Anyway, in the case of BPM, maybe you'll get back to me in a sec. If you have a song that's 64, you can actually straight mix that into a song that's 128. Even though it's double, that means they will still blend together, but that's probably not the question. Let's see if anything else happened on Mixcloud. Let me check my time. Because we've been at it for quite some time again. So let me just see if any questions will come in. And otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. So DJ Knowledge, Torque was also DJ software, but that was not the Serato one for controllers. But anyway, if for instance, you have a song that's 128, but when it shows up in Serato, it says 64, you still know that it's going to work with a song that's 128 as well. So that doesn't matter. So if you're playing, okay, so Ronnie says maybe might be about when your DJ software sees a 64 track as 128. Yeah, so it depends on what certain software will analyze songs and they will place songs within a certain BPM range. And maybe your 64 song is out of that range because maybe the range is set between, I don't know, 70 and 130 or 150. If it sees a song that's 64 and that doesn't fit within that range, it will double it because double will still work. That's going to work perfectly with a 64. So if 64 is out of the range of the software, then it's going to place it within that range by doubling it. Same thing if you have a track that's 190 BPM, but your BPM range on your software is between 80 and 150. 190 is outside of that. So in that case, it's going to cut it in half. And it's going to turn that into a 95 song. But they are still compatible. So if you're mixing and you're playing a track that's 130 and you have a track there that's 64, then you know 64 is 128. If I speed it up a little bit, then it's going to be compatible. 65, 130. You can make that work. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I see people tuning in, chiming in with that as well. Mixmaster G says the same thing, like half and double BPMs are compatible. If we're dealing with the 4/4 time signature, of course. Disco Worm from San Francisco in the building. Salute. And yeah, man, working and lurking is good as well, man. Like, I appreciate everyone in here. Like, I know not everyone is going to be in the chat or active in the chat. For some of you, it's just great to listen in, to either just catch some of the talk and maybe learning something new as well. Hey, Loco Lopez, what's going on? Good afternoon to you. So basically, yeah, that's it. And we got Zayla coming in from Paris, from Paris. So I would want to say bonjour, but bonsoir for you as well, because we're already in the evening. And Loco Lopez is coming through late. Soulful missed a couple of minutes. I don't think anything special happened for you, Soulful, in that meantime. Lerny Vander says, have you worked with different time signatures other than 4/4? Sometimes you'll have a track in there that's going to be out of that time signature, but no, not like, I haven't ever done like a specific mix where I'm like, okay, today I'm going to do like waltz type of music, different time signature. So no. Hey man, you got to work too, Loco Lopez. I get that. I get you 100%. Hey Enya, what's going on? Good to see you. Always tuning in from Albania. Good to see you again. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun over here. We've discussed all sorts of topics, all sorts of questions, and same with the people on Mixcloud. Haven't heard from the people on Twitter. Let me check in one more time. What's happening on Twitter? What is happening on Twitter? What happens if I refresh here? Can I see if there's more people watching? Yeah, no. So currently, that's just not really a thing. I don't mind. I'll throw it on there, have it open. Let me just check something real quick. Yeah, okay. It will actually show up in the chat there. Will that also show up in my restream, as same as Periscope did? I don't think so. Mixmaster G says, enjoying the great weather we got here here. Yeah, I mean, the weather is great, but it is pretty hot. I mean, actually, I've been cooling the studio most of the day. That's the only reason I was able to survive now, because I've been streaming without any of the fans on. And it hasn't gotten as hot as I thought it would. So, yeah, I'm good here. Loco Lopez says, I almost bought FaZe this morning. Any comments? Any thoughts? Well, as I always say, I love FaZe. It's, as you can see, FaZe is right here. Still, I'm such a fan. I'm currently using the latest version of FaZe, latest version of Serato. So I have no RCA cables in my mixer. My FaZe transmitter is all the way over here. And everything is working perfect. Love FaZe. Absolutely love my FaZe. Been using it on tour and yeah, loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. So Xela says, which DJ equipment would you like to see in the next few years? The game changer, future DJ equipment. I can't really think of anything right now. So talking about FaZe for me has been the biggest game changer in the last couple of years. I think a really cool addition has been the implementation of streaming services in DJ software. The fact that I'm in Serato right now and this is a beat, one of my beats on SoundCloud. This is not on my computer. I'm playing that from SoundCloud in my DJ software. So FaZe and the streaming services in DJ software, those are some of the things that I really liked. There's not anything in particular I can think of now like that would be the major game changer. A lot of times the game changers are actually things we haven't really been thinking about. And then someone comes out with it and you're like, oh, wow, now that is a game changer. I see people use that term a little bit too often. So, for instance, I saw some people talk about the new LC controller player. Like, that's a game changer. And then I'm like, how is something like that a game changer? It's a cool device, but that's not a game changer. It's not something new, or it doesn't really add something that important, in my opinion. Let's see. And Enya says, how is the situation going? Any new gigs on the way? So yeah, we're finally in a situation where things are opening up. We've been kind of out of a lockdown. More people are getting vaccinated, so all of the new cases are really down over here. The hospitals are not as filled up anymore, especially the emergency room. So that's a good thing, even though we have to kind of watch out what happens with the new, like the Delta variants and stuff that are really affecting the younger people. But things are opening up again. So bars are opening. We're back on tour, finishing the tour that we started last year. So did 3 gigs, got 2 more on the way. Got a festival lineup in September, a couple of gigs in July and August. So things are opening up here. That is definite improvement compared to the last pretty long time. Edge, what's going on? Edge says, I jumped out of the stream for a few minutes. My question is, where do I get sound effects like air horns, sweeps, and etc.? Well, if you go to Google and you type in free sound effects downloads, you should find quite a lot. I know I found all sorts of sounds just by that. Like, I was doing an edit, I needed an explosion. I know there's services out there that can offer stuff like that. And now I also, I mean, I have a Splice account. I can find sounds there as well. But if I went to Google, like, hey, free sound effects explosion download, then I would find stuff. So Google should be able to help you out there. And let's see, not sure if the question was asked, but why do some DJs program set the BPM to 150 when it's 75? Okay, cool. So we were kind of talking about that. I think my best guess is, because I know that it works like that in certain software. For instance, in Rekordbox, if you use Rekordbox for your music and you go to the settings for analyzing, you can set the BPM range. I don't know how it works in every DJ software, but there's a BPM range. So you tell your software, like, hey, when you analyze this music, it should be between and then a certain range. So for instance, if that range is set to 80 BPM to 180, I'm just giving an example right here. So 80 to 180. If your song that's 75 BPM gets analyzed, it can tell that it's 75, but it also knows that your range is between 80 and 180. In that case, to make it work, it's going to double it, because double is basically the same. A 75 and a 150 track are basically the same thing. You can mix them without doing anything. So it's going to place it within that range by doubling it. That is one thing that could be the case. I know that's how it works in Rekordbox. Like the example I gave, if you have a track that's like 180, but your range, BPM range, is set between 70 and 140, then 180 doesn't fit. So it's going to chop it in half. 90, because 90 and 180 are also the same thing. And 90 would fit. So then that track shows up as 90. That could be the case. Feta says, I love Faye's new update is super dope. Yes, I agree. Loco Lopez has a gig this weekend, bringing tables because I think they would appreciate it. That's dope. Let's see. What else? DJ Parks is in here. Salute DJ Parks from Nairobi. And let's see. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything? I don't think so. Let's go down. Okay, so Mixmaster G has a Wish, a standalone Pioneer controller with Wi-Fi Ethernet built in, so it can work seamlessly with the audio streaming services in Dropbox. So yeah, would I call that a game changer? I don't know, because we have players now that have like the Ethernet built in, and they can get tracks from at least Dropbox. So it's an improvement. I don't know if I'd call that a game changer. It would be dope though. Like, same thing for me. I would like to see like a standalone player with like motorized platters. Like full size would be dope. Would become a really large player. But like have it be standalone. I could also use it as a controller. That would be dope. I wouldn't even call something like that a game changer. That would be like wishful thinking. That would be dope. So Rain 12 is a game changer? No. No, basically because you had the Numark NS7, and at the same time you also had the Numark V7, which was basically what you now have with the SC5000 and 6000. A single player with a motorized platter. The only difference is it was not 7-inch but 12-inch. So it's a great improvement, but it's not like it's something that wasn't there already. Like, I think when Phase came out, that was something that wasn't there already, and it eliminated something that a lot of us DJs that played with DVS were dealing with, because now all of a sudden you didn't have to worry anymore about your needles, or go into a club and the turntable has a faulty tone arm, or there's something wrong with the RCA cables. All of those possible issues are now eliminated because you don't need that. All that needs to happen is it needs to be able to rotate. So that is kind of a game changer. Same way that the streaming services inside of DJ software, and let's be honest, it's been here for a while. You used to be able to use Spotify in Algorithm DJ, meaning that all of a sudden you could have access to millions of songs within your DJ software. Something like that can be considered a game-changing event. And a lot of times with a lot of the things that we think of, also that I think of when I think of dream controllers or setups, it's most of the times just an improvement on something that's already there. But hey, opinions can differ. Some people will call that game changers, and I can't say like, no. To me, I will have a certain opinion on game changer, and other people will too. But I do see a lot of people will now, with every new device, call it a game changer the day it comes out. I'm like, not really. Okay. Let's see. Loco Lopez says, if Serato offered a no PC controller or hardware, that would be dope. Yeah, so well, I mean, same thing with Denim Prime. But yeah, then you would have to have like Serato built into it. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be a Serato thing, right? But I understand what you're talking about. Has anyone tried or bought the Reloop computer stand with all the USB ports? No. I'm going to reach out to them to see if we can make that happen. I know there's online reviews, but I'm going to see if I can make that happen. Matthew is John Jackson. Okay. Lerny says, I'm afraid there will be an AI that will be smart enough to see where it can mix in and out of tracks and do flawless transitions. Why would you be afraid of that? I understand what you're saying, but I still wouldn't be afraid of that because of the fact that even if you have a computer with AI, and let's say that computer has sensors that can read the crowd reaction as well and figure out which track to play next, that would work. It's still going to lack the personality of a DJ and what a lot of us DJs would do as little extras. Now, at a certain point, it could get to a point that it might do the same. But I don't know. Like a lot of times now, especially if you look at the big DJs, a lot of the big DJs are famous because of tracks they produced, and people want to see that person. So I don't think AI can overtake that. But personally, I'm not really afraid of it until we get to a point that venues and bookers are like, hey, we're going to just put a computer with AI on and we don't need DJs. Yeah, then it could be an issue. What? Okay, Loco Lopez is doing the thing. I've been gigging these past few weeks. Booked 11 gigs within 2 weeks. Monster. Let's see. Mixmaster G says, Denon introduced the term game changer to the DJ scene with the prime range, hand in hand with change your rider. No. Okay, well, I agree that maybe since then the term has been abused, but they definitely did not come out with the term game changer. They came with the change your rider. That was their whole thing. They came out like, hey, it's time to change your rider, hashtagging it and everything. But the term game changer was around way before that. I mean, I remember when we would call like DVS was a game changer, and that's way before the prime line. Like that for us was the game changer. Like I no longer have to bring my vinyl, but I still have the turntable touch. That was like really a game changer, and I remember we used to call it that. But the change your rider, maybe that attributed to more people being like, oh, game changer. But I don't remember them really calling a game changer in their marketing. Change your rider was really the thing that they were on, though. I-96, you're at work. I get you. By the way, this stream might be ending or will be ending soon. You can also always hit me up either in the DMs on IG or send me an email. I will fix my server. STK at DJTLM.com. STK. So short for share the knowledge. STK at DJTLM.com. You can always send me an email. Let's see. Mixmaster G says, adding to my Dream Pioneer controller, tractor, HID mode support out the box. Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, especially with like the standalone stuff and everything, you still want to also to be able to control everything, all of the software. The Alien Exist 2.0 was good. DJ Echo Fingers. Echo, I said maybe Eco, but been doing it 80s practice. Big up DJ TLM. Appreciate you. Salute to you. And let's see. Who got you into DJing? Grandmaster Flash got me into the craft. Well, I have to say for me, it was just hip hop would have been my starting point for sure. I remember seeing Rock City Crew with the Hey You video. Just the elements of hip hop, like hip hop in general, just caught my attention when I was a kid. Seeing that, I remember after seeing like the Hey You video, I wanted to break dance in front of my door. I mean, no one showed me how to break dance, so I had no clue what I was doing. But I was on the ground, moving, feeling like I was doing something, and yeah, that moving with the turntable, that intrigued me a lot, for sure. So that is where it started for me. Like hip hop got me into it. The Hey You back in 83 it was, I think, really got me into it. So that was basically where it started for me. Didn't get my first set until way later, but I remember playing on the normal turntables in the house as well. Like it intrigued me. Like being able to move that back and forth, that sound, that really got me. A word is the stand 170? I mean, I do like what it's offering. I mean, it's not like we all have that laying around the house, you know? That's that's a lot. So I have to look at it again, like what it's offering, if that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I didn't even know that it was that expensive. K-Dub, what's going on? K-Dub82 says, I've been out of the game for years, but I want to get back. Have two CDJ 1000, a DJ 600. Man, I played a lot of club gigs on that 600. Just bought Tractor Scratch 3. Is this all compatible? I do not know. So you bought Tractor Scratch, but did you buy it like with an audio interface, or did you just buy the software? Because if you just bought the software, then I don't think you can use it like that. Soulful says, in your opinion, what's the best streaming service for Serato? Right now, I would say BeatSource. So I use BeatSource, Tidal, and SoundCloud. Now, SoundCloud is more to use my own stuff that I have on there. and maybe a couple other things, but it's not where I find my normal music to play. The thing I like about BeatSource, they have a very large selection. I would say Tidal has more, but they have the playlist, the curated playlists, which are just a major plus, just when you don't have time to make crates. Like, for instance, on Monday when I played, I didn't have time to make my own playlist. So I decided to take some of their curated playlists, and I used labeled playlists only. So I had a Loud Records, Nervous Records, Bad Boy, Death Row, and just used that. The other thing is, Tidal might have more music, but if I'm on Tidal, I can search for songs, but that's basically what I can do. If I'm on BeatSource and I go to a particular artist, for instance, I can then filter, and I can filter using a BPM range. I can filter with key because that information is there. Tidal doesn't show you BPM or anything like that. So you get more information on BeatSource. BeatSource is also offering instrumentals, sometimes acapellas, and they're adding more, and they're working on DJ edits. You don't get that on Tidal either. So it's BeatSource for me, but there are certain songs that I can't get on BeatSource because they don't have everything. And then in that case, I'll open Tidal for a specific song. John Willett is DJ. Oh no, it says and DJ AM RIP. Vinyl Touch says if we can access a network share from a club setting over LAN, that would be great. Yep. Loco Lopez says a standalone player with Spotify support. Well, Spotify is not gonna. That's not gonna work. They just went out of that. So Feta says I spent ages building my crates in Spotify. If you still have those crates in Spotify, you can use Soundees, for instance, to convert all of those playlists from Spotify to Tidal or BeatSource. And it will just make the same crates there. One caveat, if the song is not, for instance, if you take your Spotify crates and you convert them to BeatSource, it can only add the songs that are on BeatSource. Tidal will probably have basically everything. So Soundees, and if I'm not mistaken, that's Soundiiz. I made a video about it for DJ City, like I think a year ago. But it's like a conversion tool. I know there's another site that does the same thing, I believe. But I use Soundees, and I've used that before. So if you've made a ton of crates in Spotify, you can use something like Soundees to at least, hopefully, cover a bunch of them, either in Tidal or BeatSource. So that is something you can think about, especially if you spend ages building those crates. It would be a waste if you can't use them at all. If you're on Mac, and Mixmaster G will have to jump in because Mixmaster G has that conversion tool which will allow you to convert your crates from Serato to Rekordbox to Tractor, you name it. I know he was also working on something for the streaming services. Mixmaster G, you'll have to jump in and let me know if you can also convert his Spotify crates to another service because I'm not sure about that one. But if not, then Soundees is an online service that can do that for you. Because Spotify just stopped supporting the DJ services, unfortunately. Yeah. And Jorge Blanco says, also for me, there's nothing like owning my own music. Yeah, I mean, I love the streaming service, but it would never be my only thing. I will always have music on my computer. Again, or for sure. Lonell, what's going on? Not sure how it works where you are, but I recently got my business license for my DJ business. Got gigs now 4 times a week. Do you recommend an accountant to help with fees and taxes? I don't know. It all depends. Like for some people, it's no problem to just sit down for a couple hours once a week and handle their business. Like if that's not really your thing, Or if you just feel you don't have the time for it, then yes, you can, of course, invest in an accountant to help you with that. That means you don't have to do it. Most likely it will get done right and on time. But that is going to cost you. Accountants aren't cheap. So it really depends. I mean, for some people, it's like, hey, man, they do their business all week. And then once a week or once every 2 weeks, they'll sit down and they'll do all the paperwork to have everything up to date, you name it. So I don't know. You'll have to see what fits best for you. Zayla says, who here remembers Napster and Audio Galaxy? Yeah, of course. Of course. Taking it way back. And LimeWire, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably still have some on my external hard drive that came from one of those places. And for me, it was also this. I had a lot of stuff on vinyl, but I knew it was going to take me forever to make everything digital. It made more sense for me to download a lot of stuff. Sometimes I would buy like secondhand CDs and rip them, but a lot of times I would find a place to download them. I'm like, yo, I already bought them. I just need a digital version. But yeah, I remember all of those services. Marcus Black says a controller with 12-inch platters would be dope. Well, I mean, we have that in the Ring 12, of course. But like, if you mean like an all-in-one device with 12-inch platters, I mean, it would be dope. But just imagine, it would be at least this size, and it would also be very heavy. I mean, an NS7 with those smaller motorized platters is pretty heavy. These turntables are pretty heavy. If you have it all in one set, it's gonna be heavy. Let's see. What's going on here? Jorge Blanco, I appreciate those bits. And Zayla says, regarding technology, AI, as Jesse Jeff was saying, if you suck before Seratoing technology, you will suck after. Yeah, 1,000%. But I think in regards to the AI, that was more like computers being able to take over from DJs. But maybe I'm wrong. Disco Worm says Pointer Sister stepping out was my beginning DJ. Disco Worm, one question: why are you adding your name to basically every comment? Because I can already see it's you. But I appreciate the comments though. Bust a couple breakdance moves before you peace out. No, not happening. Have an awesome day as well. Let's see. Let's see. Jorge Blanco says, which sucks, you have to play song first, then BPM will show. You're probably talking about Tidal, right? Because that happened the last time I was playing with Tidal. I was like, okay, I made a playlist on Tidal, and I opened it in Serato, and I saw no information. I was like, yo, what's going on? Then you load the track, and then it shows the information. But when you're on BeatSource and you're looking, you see that information right there, which is helpful. And Marcus Black says the song Jam Master J by Run DMC did it for me. When I heard that song, I was hooked on DJing. Yeah, that can do it for you. I can totally see that. Okay, Loco Lopez says you can also convert your Spotify tracks using Sidify. Yeah, that's another one. Like I said, I know Soundies, and I know there's at least one or two more that can do that. So especially if people built like a large collection. Oh, damn. Okay, Mixmaster G says yes, but not for Spotify, the title. It can convert cues, loops, etc. between various DJ software from a given service. And beat source link, Serato cues, the DJ. Yeah, okay, got you. Walter, what's going on? Walter Vargas. Salute to you. K-Dub says, thanks for addressing my question earlier. I'm sending a more detailed email. Yes. Dope. Twat 2021 says, I'm playing, or will be twat. I'm playing my first gig the 25th. Congratulations. And I'm worried. I can't really decide the vibe that I want the set to go to. And I haven't DJ'd in about 8 months since my controller broke. What's your tip for first gig? Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can decide which vibe you want to set all you want to, but that's also really going to depend on the people there. At least for me, that's the thing. That's why I prefer freestyle DJing, because it allows me to like test the waters. I've seen DJs come in with like a prepared set in a certain mood, and the crowd was not feeling that, and then they were like, "Oh, now I'm stuck in a certain vibe," and they're not feeling it. So I don't know if you should overthink that part of it. Just know what music you're bringing. If you can find out as much as you can about that party, so you know what type of music is expected, and just go off the feeling there. No, I won't solely rely on streaming either. Like, it's a great extra tool. And for the live streams now, when I'm in the studio, cool. And I've done like actual gigs. Like last year, I did gigs with just Beat Source, but I had my music on the computer. So if anything would have happened, I would have been good to go at any point. Yeah, an all-in-one controller, but you'll need a crane to carry it. Yeah, for sure. It's going to be mad heavy. Loco Lopez, later, brother. See you next time for sure. With Tidal, I just make my playlist and play them with the music down to 0. I'll leave it playing in autoplay. Then the metadata get added. That way, next time I open Tidal, yeah. I mean, of course, that will work. But especially like when I'm putting together like a playlist and I'm thinking about a certain BPM range. If I'm in that way of searching for tracks, I can do that on Tidal. So of course I can make a playlist on Tidal, take all the songs, but then I would have to play them first in order to get that information. A lot of times I don't have that time. So I'm making a playlist maybe like an hour before I go live. And a lot of times I won't have time to let them play then. And if that's the case, yeah, then I don't have the information. But that would definitely work if you have the time for it. I appreciate that follow, the Quibbler 420. And Marcus Black, yes, the scratch tutorials are still up on DJ TLM TV for sure. Just look for the scratch tutorial playlist. And Loco Lopez is leaving us with bits. I love that. Randy G, what's going on? Yeah, we've been streaming for the last, how late? When did I begin? I think I started at like 7:15. It's almost 10:45. So we've been at it for like 3.5 hours. And yeah, indeed, Mixmaster G says like you can even do that with the pitch as high as your software will allow you to, because it's analyzing the song, the file, not how fast you play it. So it's not like if you play it faster, it's gonna give you a higher BPM count. That is true, and then it will play the songs a lot faster. So that's a great tip there too. And let's see. Mike Mike, what's going on? I have a Tascam Model 24 mixing board, new MacBook with Big Sur, and OBS is recognizing my sound coming in. OBS is only recognizing the room sound. Really? So then it's that's the mic from your laptop then, right? If it's recognizing the room sound. Feta, I'll see you next stream. I'll be here on Monday with my mix and on Wednesday with the Q&A. So okay. So Mike, I'm not sure what's going wrong there then. So the Tascam is connected to the computer, right? I'm not sure. I'm not on a MacBook, so I don't know if there's like a difference there. I don't know. No, I can't tell you. So chat, please jump in and help Mike out if we know. In the meantime, what's happening here? So Mixcloud is chill. Let me see what's happening on Twitch for a second. An app update is available for Twitch. No, we'll do that later. We will do that later. I just want to check something out real quick. All right, what's happening on Twitch right now? Anyone we should tune into? No. No. Not a lot happening here. Who's here? Who's this? Who's this? What is this person playing? Let me check it out real quick. Just for Twitch, I'm seeing if there's someone to raid. Because I'm about to end the stream. Oh, wait. My audio is still on the Rodecaster. Give me my iPhone back. Come on. Audio. That's the only issue. When my Rodecaster Pro is on, it automatically connects to my phone, and then I lose my audio here. Hello. Oh, really? The channel is offline? It was just online. Looking for someone to raid real quick, and otherwise we're just gonna end the stream where we're at right now. Okay. No, that's something totally different. Anything else happening here? What's Low Key doing? Curtis, I appreciate you. What is happening here? No, I don't see anything in specific going on. Anything in particular going on here. So before we head out, I want to just thank all the people tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from. So YouTube, Mixcloud, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn today for the first time for Q&A, Twitch, of course. So wherever you're tuning in from, I appreciate you. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had some fun too. I hope I was able to add some value to you. And I saw people helping each other out, which is always a great thing. I'm here every Wednesday with a Q&A for DJs. I'm here every Monday with Crates, my mix show. So make sure you're tuning in for that one. And until that time, it's time for me to go back to work, get something to eat, and all of that goodness. So that's where we're going to end it today. I am ready to fade to black over here. So all of you, thanks for tuning in. And spread the word. Tune in next time. Peace.